Part 25. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 241. Chi-Change-I walked into the pill room, but Guyao was disheartened at the moment, and the pill furnace was a little messy. Needless to say, he was doing something new. Chi-Change-I smiled and shook his head, walked over to Guyao and sat down, waiting for him to come out of the state of thinking. I don't know how long it took for Guyao, who was holding his chin, to focus his eyes again. When he came back to his senses, he saw Chi-Change-I sitting next to him, and immediately said with joy, "Brother, yeah, you have left the customs. When did you come? No, call me." Chi-Change-I reached out and touched Guyao's face, then put it in front of him and said, "Seeing that you are so engrossed in your thoughts that you didn't say a word, go and clean up, I'll clean it up for you here." Guyao screamed strangely, and forgot to ask how long Chi-Change-I had been waiting, so he hurriedly cleaned himself up. Guyao happily sat back to Chi-Change-I's side, but thinking about the problems he thought about before, he became distressed. Purifying the elixir of the spiritual root, the more difficult it is to go up. The impurities accumulated in the spiritual root will follow the cultivation process. It's getting more and more stubborn to go up. Chi-Change-I stretched out his hand to massage the acupuncture points on his head and let him relax. Don't put yourself too tight, sometimes you just need to relax, maybe there is a flash of inspiration. Guyao knew that Chi-Change-I was comforting himself. How could there be so many auras in alchemy, flash, but what he said made sense, relax and maybe there will be new ideas. He took out a jade bottle and handed it to Chi-Change-I, and said, "This is the amethyst spirit dew collected by Baby Zi. Baby Zi has taken care of the space very well. Without him, we wouldn't be able to collect so much spirit dew in a short period of time." After leaving the underground space, Guyao transplanted some purple bamboos that did not affect the formation into the space. It happened that Zi Bao also liked it, so he quickly took care of it. A small piece of purple bamboo forest came out, so they also had amethyst spirit dew, and Xiling rice and amethyst bamboo shoots were eaten, but Su Chen, another resident, died of sourness. Because he had no physical body, he couldn't eat these things, so he could only watch others enjoy it. Chi-Change-I took out 2 jade cups and poured out some amethyst spirit dew. Just smelling the smell makes you feel tired and instantly disappear. After taking a sip, the spirit dew turns into a pure and gentle aura that flows through the body for a long time. It has the function of repairing dark wounds in the body. Some dark wounds cannot be repaired by healing pills. It is especially suitable for long-term body training and sword cultivators such as Chi-Change-I. This time, both of them have made great progress in their cultivation and retreat in the mountains. I believe Tianfirong and Little Fatty are the same. At this time, they will encounter the monsters in the early nascent soul, and they will not be like before. Embarrassed. I came out and took a look. Tianfirong and Little Fatty were still in their training room, and they just said Chi-Change-I's intentions and pulled Guyao together to go around the city. There must be a lot of local specialty products, and there are also. Find the shopkeeper of the dry stone shop and ask how the situation is outside. The two were walking on the street, with various vendors on both sides, and all kinds of noise mixed together. It was really noisy, but the two were in a good mood. Walking to a booth, Guyao was looking down at the items on the booth, and a delicate voice sounded in his ears, "The two little brothers have seen something, this girl will give you a discount." Guyao was stunned, looked up at the person who was speaking, and saw a female cultivator wagging the tail of a big fox, looking at him and Chi-Change-I with bright eyes. This is clearly a fox demon, with a bright and beautiful appearance, a little bit of flirtation. Chi-Change-I frowned slightly. Guyao didn't speak yet, but a male repairman in the booth next to him said in a rough voice, "I said, who may, when did you change your taste? Is there a discount?" Now these two male cultivators are clearly ordinary in appearance, how can they catch the eye? However, Hume threw a wink at Guyao and Chi-Change-I, When did Hume change her taste? For example, you are as far away from me as you are, two little brothers, don't you think? That look made Gu Yao's scalp go numb, as if he and Chi Changai's clothes were torn off. Gu Yao shivered, dragged Chi Changai and ran away, unable to bear it. Thank you for your kindness, we will leave now. Seeing Gu Yao running away, Hume, who was behind him, laughed even more, making the big man next to him bewildered. Hume, a dead fox demon, specializes in teasing handsome male cultivators, and the two male cultivators just now were no better than him. Where to go, not to mention Yao Xiu is looking at the cultivation base, looking at the strength and physical strength. When they were far away, Gu Yao looked back with lingering fears, touched his head and said, "Brother Ye, do you think that we seem to have been seen through by that banshee?" Chi Changai guessed a few points when he heard the male demon cultivator speak, nodded, and said, "It should be, some monsters are born to be loved by the heaven and the earth, and they are born with some innate supernatural powers, maybe the eyes of the demon cultivator. It's a little special. Don't worry, most of the time, demon cultivators won't intervene in disputes between humans. Unless they get some benefit, and if this demon cultivator sees through their identities, then you should know that compared to those big sects outside, Gu Yao, a genius alchemist, can bring more benefits to the demon cultivator, because most demon cultivators do not. People who are good at alchemy are the best at learning." Gu Yao felt much more relieved after saying this, so he went on a walk without heart, letting him find a lot of spiritual grass and other items that could not be seen outside. Tasting slowly, without isolating the outside voice, or listening to anything, there are two words that caught the attention of the two of them. Business alliance. What is a business alliance? The two of them looked at each other, and it has been a while since they came to Ganhao continent, but they have never heard of any business alliances, but they have heard people talk about it vigorously. Is it some force that has emerged recently? The two listened carefully, but what they heard surprised them. I heard that the business alliance has joined 10 large firms now, and the business alliance will build its headquarters near Beihai City, echoing with Beihai City. I didn't expect City Lord Lu of 100 Rivers City to be so courageous. He summoned so many businesses to form a business alliance. When the business alliance really develops, the nascent soul cultivators gathered together will not be weaker than those big sections. Yeah, City Lord Lu is not only courageous, but also can afford to let go. Although the business alliance was established by the call of City Lord Lu, she and her Taoist companion did not occupy the first place, and gave up the position of the leader of the alliance. When he came out, he became the two elders of the business alliance. City Lord Lu is really amazing, and he should be a model for my generation of loose cultivators. I heard that the Merchant Alliance is recruiting and buying horses, and many loose cultivators with good strength have gone to defect, including some demon cultivators. Gu Yao and Chi Changai were speechless when they heard it, and after they understood what was going on, they were full of admiration. Chi Changai said through a voice transmission, "This must be Senior Zhang's handwriting, although he does not occupy much interest in the business alliance, but just because he and Luchenzu Fumai are the initiators of the business alliance, the major sects cannot easily attack them, otherwise it is the entire business alliance that angers. Just imagine, if even the sponsor of the business alliance dares to kill it, then the entire business alliance will not be taken seriously. If the business alliance does not stand up, this organization will not have much influence on the mainland. Speaking of which, this business alliance has the same effect as the Alchemy Guild proposed by Gu Yao. The Alchemy Guild has drawn most of the alchemists into its own camp, and established itself in the position of righteousness by spreading the alchemy technique. If it is not good for the Alchemist Guild, I am afraid that it will attract the anger of the monks in the mainland, and put myself in the hostile position of the entire continent. Although the business alliance could not stand up to the righteousness of the Alchemist Guild, it also integrated most of the business forces on the Ganhao continent. In this way, Dealing with one of them is equivalent to dealing with the entire business alliance and the entire business alliance. Businesses in the mainland, this is not so easy to shake. If the business alliances unite to control the circulation of a certain spiritual material in a certain sect, it will definitely have a certain impact on this sect. Guyao also heard that someone mentioned Qing Chen Pil, and said in surprise, Senior Zhang shared Qing Chen Pil in the business alliance, and thought again, this is also very good, don't worry about Chang Xianmen secretly sending people robbery. Moreover, in order to ensure their own interests, the merchants in the business alliance will definitely not force the Chang Xianmen who leaked Dan to Chang Xianmen and other sects, which is equivalent to forcing the entire business alliance. Although he took out the Qing Chen Pil, but when he handed it over to the city lord's mansion, he said that the city lord's mansion has the right to dispose of it. Qi Changjai nodded, guessing that this time the Changxian gate was out of breath. When he heard the alchemist Li Qi in the restaurant mocking Changxian and Changxian, Qi Changjai raised the corner of his mouth, Xiaoao's pill recipe is so good robbed. Now that Li Qi's name should be self-sufficient. Because, until now, Chang Xianmen has not been able to come up with the Qing Chen Pil, so the doubts about Li Qi are getting louder and louder, and even so far away, they are talking about the settlements of those people. Qi Changjai was in a very good mood, he didn't forget that Chang Xianmen secretly raised the reward for Guyao. The two had a delicious meal, and when they walked out of the restaurant, they heard a table of repairing soil talking loudly about who developed the Qing Chen Pil. Walking to the kimchi store, the shopkeeper's eyes lit up when he saw them. These two little ancestors finally came out. The chaos outside was so chaotic, they were so leisurely, and he almost lost his hair. Two fellow deists, please go upstairs, the shopkeeper asked first. When they got upstairs, the shopkeeper hurriedly said respectfully, the Hell Master would like to ask Alchemy Yao to do me a favor. Please tell me, shopkeeper Guyao said politely. That's it, the two fellow deists should have heard about the business alliance, right? Guyao said with a smile, I just heard a lot of people talking about it in the restaurant, otherwise we really don't know. The shopkeeper will say goodbye to City Lord Lu and Pavilion Lord Zhang for us. The shopkeeper smiled. He was very happy to have come this far. In this way, a shop like theirs can be linked to the business alliance in the future, and the exploitation and pressure will be relieved a lot. There is a strong backstage. Okay. That's right, the pavilion master wants to ask Alchemist Yao to make some medicinal pills, and the business alliance is preparing for an auction, a grand auction. The pavilion owner wants to ask Alchemy Yao to take action, and all the proceeds from the auction will go to Alchemist Yao. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 242. Guyao heard that this was the case, so he agreed immediately, but he didn't need special treatment from Pavilion Master Zhang. The same treatment as other people, the commission that should be deducted is still the same. Seeing Guyao's insistence, the shopkeeper promised to pass the matter on to the pavilion owner, who would make the decision. When Guyao and Qi Changjai left Qinchi Pavilion, they took away a large number of spirit herbs. Obviously, these spirit herbs were delivered here early in the morning, waiting for Guyao to leave the customs and ask Guyao to refine medicine pills. Let him be responsible for the spirit grass, these medicinal herbs. Guyao may not be able to collect the spirit grass. Back at the rented cave, Guyao was not in a hurry to enter the pill room to make pills, he was thinking about something with his chin up. Qi Changjai patted his head, what are you thinking about? Guyao sighed, turned to look at the people around him, and said, the information channels of the business alliance should be much wider now than before, covering the entire Qinhao continent, and Pavilion Master Zhang is quite capable. When he was in Beihe City, he could hear the admiration of Mr. Lu and Mr. Qi, including Lu Yu's daughter who admired her father. When Qi Changjai heard it, he guessed what Guyao was worried about, took his hand and said, you can give it a try, and ask Pavilion Master Zhang to help us find someone secretly. Uncle, he should leave some traces here. When he came to Qinhao continent, Gu Yao did not dare to blatantly inquire about his uncle's news, so as not to bring any risks to his uncle, but when passing through towns and monks' settlements, he would pay attention to all kinds of local news. Tian Firong and Little Fatty would also. I took this matter to heart, but so far I haven't heard any news related to my uncle. Maybe it's because they have traveled too few places and limited information channels, so there is no result. Gu Yao suspected that his uncle's name might also be fake. How to find it in the vast crowd? I heard about the establishment of the business alliance in the restaurant before. I didn't think much about it at first, but later I found out that this business alliance can do a lot of things. It is estimated that I can make a lot of money just by selling news. If I ask the business alliance to find someone, it saves a lot of time and effort than them, and now Senior Zhang Qianfeng should be able to cooperate. Gu Yao took a breath and said, well, no matter what, I have to give it a try. They couldn't find time to run around to inquire about the news. Gu Yao took a blank jade slip and posted it on his forehead to see it twice in his memory. The image of his uncle was copied into it. Qi Changjai was also very curious about this uncle, so he took a look and saw that Gu Yao's facial features were somewhat similar to his uncle's, but the temperament of the two was different. Related to the human environment. It's very strange. Xiao's uncle is like the son of Huazai, who was carefully cultivated by a big family, only the gestures in the video have a taste of elegance. There is no need to rush this matter. The business alliance has not been established for a long time. Zhang Qinzi wants to use the business alliance's network power, and it is not possible to do it in a short time, so Gu Yao first refines the elixir, and waits to send the elixir to Qinji when you are in the court. Let this matter be entrusted to you. This time Gu Yao has increased the number of top-grade pills. Even if it is a 7th-grade high-grade pill, the number of top-grade pills is more than half. He wants others to see the value of his body. As for Chang Xianmen's wanted for him, in the current situation it's not that he can cancel it if he wants to keep a low profile, but it is better to use his alchemy to strengthen his personal connections. Half a month later, Gu Yao and Qi Changjai came to Qinji Pavilion together again. Still following the shopkeeper upstairs, Gu Yao handed a storage bag to the shopkeeper and asked him to count the number of medicinal pills. The shopkeeper was a little worried when he saw that Gu Yao was finished so quickly. After all, Gu Yao was good at pills, and he just heard about it. He had never really seen it before. But when his divine sense penetrated into the storage bag and saw clearly the jade bottles placed inside, as well as the medicinal pills in the jade bottles, he was shocked and surprised. Alchemy Yao is already a 7th-grade high-grade alchemist. There are also high-grade pills, and there are more than one kind. He gave out a lot of auxiliary materials, but when the materials were sent out, he didn't really expect Gu Yao to refine them all. It's good to train for Gu Yao. After all, these materials are allocated from above. The shopkeeper's face was flushed with excitement. A 7th-grade high-grade best-grade pill. This value is not necessarily worse than the low-level 6th-rank pill, so that the pavilion owner will have some faith in the business alliance. Alchemy Yao is really good at alchemy. I will thank Alchemy Yao for his hard work these days on behalf of the pavilion master. The shopkeeper's breathing was a little short. We also took shelter from the pavilion master for a lot of time. By the way, I have one more thing to ask for, and all the things I ask for are in this jade slip. Please help to deliver it to the pavilion master. The pavilion master looked at the jade slip. I understand. Gu Yao put a jade slip in the jade box in front of the shopkeeper, and then sealed the jade box. Pavilion master Zhang can hand over the matter of the best pill to the shopkeeper, which shows that he can be trusted. Although he took a risk, he couldn't do nothing. He was worried that if his uncle encountered any danger, he would be able to find a solution earlier if he got the news earlier. Okay, the shopkeeper solemnly accepted it. I promise to live up to the entrustment of Alchemist Yao. Please don't worry about Alchemy Yao. Thank you. Gu Yao smiled, and then said goodbye together with Qi Changjai. The shopkeeper hurriedly put away these things and sent them downstairs in person. Two little brothers, it's really fate, I see you again. Hearing some familiar voices, the two people who were still on the stairs looked down and saw some black lines. It was the female cultivator of the fox clan they met at the market that day, but this time the foxtail was put away, not tossed and tossed behind. It turned out to be fellow deist. We are already busy, fellow deist, take a look at it slowly. Farewell. Chi Changjai grabbed Guyao's arm and walked down the stairs. After talking to Humei, he walked towards the door without looking sideways. The shopkeeper who followed behind saw this person, and he had a headache. How could Guyao and Chi Changjai meet this person? The two little brothers don't seem to be happy to see me, Humei. Could it be that I am not good looking, Humei? Humei winked at the shopkeeper and touched her face narcissistically. Chi Changjai didn't want to step on this Humei, and didn't plan to answer the conversation. It was estimated that it would be endless. Guyao looked back at her more embarrassedly, and smiled dryly. Not familiar, we are not familiar, you are busy. After speaking, the two walked away, and Humei, who was in the shop, stepped on her feet and said softly, "The shopkeeper, do you think I was born ugly? Let these two little brothers avoid it." The shopkeeper's cold sweat, this eldest sister of the Fox clan, Donji Yao, and the others don't think you are ugly, they must be afraid of being entangled by you, but the threat in Humei's eyes made him dare not speak his mind, so he had to. He said dryly, "Where, Daiyu who was born so beautiful, how could he be associated with the ugly word?" The two fellow deists must have something important to do, and they are leaving in a hurry. Yes, there must be something important to do. Humph, Humei twisted her waist and walked around the shopkeeper's head. Seeing that the shopkeeper's forehead was really sweating, she snorted, "You humans, what do you think our Fox clan demon cultivators are? Don't let me, Humei, know that there is someone behind my back to ruin my reputation, or this girl won't be able to forgive me. No, definitely not." The shopkeeper's beggar told the ancestral land to finally send Humei away. He breathed a sigh of relief and wanted to send a letter to Guyao and the others. The next time Alchemist Yao comes over, he will remind him, but Alchemist Yao is not willing to be attached to this Humei. It's just that there is some trouble. It's not something you can get rid of if you don't want to get involved. When 2 days later, Tian Firong, who left the customs, told Guyao that a female cultivator came to him, and asked if it was the cultivator he met during this time. Guyao, I just felt a lump of black on the top of my head. Chi Changjai said displeasedly, I'm going to throw people out. Guyao hurriedly grabbed him, forget it, let her come in and ask her what she wants to do, otherwise it won't be solved completely this time, and it is estimated that she will come to the door next time. This female cultivator is only afraid of being in the Fox clan. The status is not low, the Fox clan is a big clan in the demon cultivator. The Fox clan is a relatively intelligent race among the monsters, so the power of the Fox clan has not been small since its development. Looking at the attitude of the shopkeeper of the kimchi shop to the female cultivator the day before yesterday, he obviously felt that she was a trouble. However, I bumped into it twice. Look, this time Jing Neng found them in the cave, and she was obviously eyeing her. This kind of person probably won't stop until he achieves his goal. Tian Firong rolled his eyes, wondering what kind of drama he had made up in his mind, and invited people in according to what Guyao said. Before anyone came in, Humei's laughter came first, and then Guyao and Chi Changjai saw Humei swaying in and walked in, obviously not showing her tail, but it still made people feel that there was a big tail behind her. With a sway, Tian Firong, who was following behind, raised his eyebrows and looked at the female cultivator, and some understood why Guyao and Chi Changjai were not so happy when they mentioned this person. Humei from the Fox clan is visiting, don't you two fellow Taoists mind? Humei covered her lips and smiled. Chi Changjai has a sullen face, everyone is here, do they mind? Will you leave automatically if you say you mind? Gu Yao twitched the corners of his mouth and invited Hu Mei to take a seat. It turned out to be Daihu, please take a seat, the cave house is simple and the reception is not good. Tian Furong sat down with him, and although the corner of his mouth was smiling, he looked at Hu Mei vigilantly. What exactly was this Hu Shiu's idea? Hu Mei smiled and said, fellow Daoist is so enthusiastic, then I, Hu Mei, are welcome. Gu Yaoxin said, no, I am not enthusiastic at all, and when did you Hu Mei know that you are polite? Hu Mei continued, I want to ask Alchemist Yao or Alchemist Gu to help me refine a few pots of pills. Okay, the last two notes seemed to go up after a few circles, with an indescribable charm. It's just that Gu Yao shivered when he heard it. Chi Changai's sharp eyes slashed and scratched on Hu Mei, and Tian Furong's eyes became a little more serious. When did she dig the bottom of them so cleanly? Now, no one knows their identities except Qinchi Store. If Chi Changai wanted to stay at this time, Tian Furong would cooperate without hesitation. Gu Yao gave Hu Mei a few glances, and said with a chuckle, since it's a pill, let's do it according to the rules. Leave the spirit grass and the news talisman. After the pill is refined, I will notify fellow Taoist Hu to come and get the pill. Hu Mei blinked, then should I call my little brother Yao Alchemist or Gu Alchemist? What is the name of the little brother? Gu Yao shook his head and said, it doesn't matter, Daihu can call him whoever he wants. Seeing that the three of them were all on guard, Hu Mei thought it was extremely boring. She pushed a storage bag on the table and said, well, I'll call you Alchemist Yao like everyone else, if anything happens to Alchemist Yao. Trouble, you can come to the Fox clan to find me Hu Mei, I think I can bring you more help than Daoist Chang, and the Fox clan can also protect Alchemist Yao better. After finishing speaking, she threw a wink and swayed away, and when she was out of sight of a few people, Hu Mei jumped up and down again, making a fox-like squeak, and turned back. Glancing, grinding his teeth and walking away, he muttered, I didn't expect this Thunder Sword cultivator to be such a cheapskate, and he would secretly attack, how could he have the slightest bit of a sword repair demeanor? So in comparison, it is still Danchi Yao is more attractive. Chi Changai's face was sullen, Tian Furong didn't dare to speak, this fox demon was so daring, he actually dared to pry at the corner of the wall in front of Chi Changai, especially to belittle Chi Changai. Cough, Gu Yao didn't know what to say, and changed his head for a while before saying, brother yeah, don't be angry, she is comparing the entire Fox clan here with you. Tian Furong hurriedly agreed, Gu Yao was right, brother Chi carried the entire Fox clan alone. Chi Changai looked at Tian Furong coolly, saw his neck shrink, and then quickly slipped away. Gu Yao wanted to talk about alchemy, but Chi Changai grabbed his hand and couldn't leave. Chi Changai sighed helplessly, hugged Gu Yao's chin and put it on top of his hair. What are you thinking about? When did I care about this? What I care about is this female fox digging in front of me. My corner, can I still not be angry? Gu Yao lightly hit Chi Changai's chest with his head, and chuckled, then you should know that Hu Mei is only interested in my alchemy technique, and can I be pulled away? Chi Changai also laughed, his chest trembled slightly, and the deep laughter penetrated into Gu Yao's ears, making his earlobes hot. Behi City. This batch of medicinal pills is extremely important, so the Qinchi store spent a lot of spirit stones using a teleportation array specially designed to deliver goods to the main pavilion. After Zhang Qianfeng received the pill, he checked it out, and the more he looked, the more satisfied he became. Sure enough, Gu Yao's pill technique was higher than what he knew from outside legends. The strength of his pill technique exceeded his cultivation level, which meant that his soul was powerful. The control power is strong, and the spiritual consciousness cultivation level exceeds the level of spiritual power. The more such a person is, the more stamina he will develop. Zhang Qianfeng put the medicinal pills away and let Director Qi and Director Lu take a look together. The two of them were also shocked. No wonder, the four of them's cultivation progressed so fast, and they were willing to persevere in their hard work. With the offering of top-grade pills, even a cultivator with low spiritual aptitude can cultivate to a relatively high level. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 243. After reading the medicinal pill, Zhang Qianfeng found that there was still a jade box with a seal on it, so he first opened the letter from the shopkeeper. The specific content is in the jade slip of the jade box. Zhang Qianfeng is very curious, and I don't know what the Four of Guyao will entrust him with. It should not be asking him to help deal with the Changxian section. In fact, at this time, he and the Four of Guyao are in the same camp, and they have a certain tacit understanding with each other, so what else is there to do? Directly using spiritual power to break the seal on the jade box, Director Qi and Director Lu also looked at the jade slip inside curiously. Zhang Qianfeng picked up the jade slip and used his spiritual sense to check the contents inside. Keep an eye out for the whereabouts of the people in the images, and hopefully keep it a secret. Zhang Qianfeng can see at a glance that the person in the image is somewhat similar to Guyao's facial features. Of course, the similarity is not the current alchemist Yao, but the image on the Changxianmen wanted list he has seen, but because of his age and his own temperament difference. If you didn't deliberately link the two, there would be no such discovery. Could it be that this person is Guyao's blood relative? Look at it too, and let me know if you find anything. Zhang Qianfeng handed the jade slip to the two stewards. Both of them were much better off. You don't need to think about Zhang Qianfeng to understand why Guyao mentioned this at this moment. When he left Beihe City, he didn't mention it. Obviously he also thought of the role of the business alliance. Yeah, this is Alchemist Yao's relative. So Danji Yao came to us to find his relatives. Zhang Qianfeng put his hands together on the table and said, it doesn't matter what relationship this person has with Alchemy Yao, we just need to secretly help Alchemy Yao find out about this person, and it would be better if we can find out his whereabouts. Do you have an impression? Guanxi Qi and Guanxi Lu shook their heads together. They have seen too many monks since their cultivation. It is impossible to recognize a person just by seeing a face, unless the person is exceptionally good or has done something sensational in the mainland. Zhang Qianfeng didn't have any impression of himself. He waved his hand and said, check slowly, if you are not, you can start from Changxianmen first. Manager Qi and Manager Lu said in unison, yes. At this time someone came to report the matter in the business alliance. Elder Zhang, Yunye Commercial Bank in the western region wants to join our business alliance, but the other party has put forward a condition, hoping to have a private conversation with Elder Zhang. Talk. The leader said that the joining of Yunye Commercial Bank is of great significance to the business alliance, and I hope Elder Zhang can keep them. The Yunye Commercial Bank is naturally a business established by the demon cultivator itself. Most of the business is done by the demon cultivator, and it also interacts with Rengziu. In the western region, although Rengziu's business houses have also entered the past, they are basically in the periphery and cannot penetrate deeply. From the overall point of view, the power of the demon cultivator is still the largest. If Yunye Commercial Bank really joined the business alliance, it would be of great significance. Not only did it attract the power of demon cultivators, but there were many rare spiritual materials on the demon cultivator site that were scarce outside. So when he heard about this, Zhang Qianfeng immediately put down what he was doing, got up and said, okay, I'll go for a trip in person, and go back and tell the leader that Zhang will do his best. As an elder of the business alliance, he naturally hopes that the business alliance growing stronger. This subordinate will lead Elder Zhang to the place where the principal of Yunye Commercial Bank is staying. Zhang Qianfeng left stewards Qi and steward Lu, and went to the headquarters of the business alliance. A new city has appeared here. Although it has just started, it is conceivable that the prosperity in the future will not be inferior to that of Behi City, and besides the gathering of merchants, it is a place where many scattered cultivators gather. Zhang Qinzi came to the guest house where the business alliance entertained distinguished guests. In one of the courtyards, he saw the principal of the Yunyu Trading Company, a demon cultivator with silver hair. Founded, although other demon cultivators have been absorbed, the demon cultivators of the Silver Wolf clan still occupy a major position. Silver Wolf, it is said that the blood of Howling Moon Sirius flows in his body. Howling Moon Heavenly Wolf is an ancient divine beast, powerful and unparalleled. If he can awaken a few bloodlines of Howling Moon Heavenly Wolf and acquire talent skills, the strength of the Silver Wolf Demon Jiu will be greatly enhanced. Will double up. However, the Silver Wolf clan doesn't seem to have much to do with Rengziu. Zhang Qianfeng is also very curious. What can make the Yinlang clan's Demon Jiu find him specifically? He had a guess in his heart, because this was what many people inquired about him after he condensed the baby. Elder Zhang, I'm Yingxi. The silver-haired male cultivator saw Zhang Qinzi and looked at him with cold eyes. Ordinary cultivators would definitely feel extremely stressed when they saw him. Zhang Qianfeng was already a Yuanying cultivator and looked back lightly. It turned out to be the chief steward of Yunyu Commercial Bank. Zhang Qinzi felt more and more that the other party was plotting to continue the limbs, otherwise the chief steward would not come over in person, and the other party was also a demon cultivator with the strength of Yuanying. The opponent, I don't know why the big steward is looking for Zhang. Yanzixu asked Zhang Qianfeng to sit down, but the people from the business alliance did not follow up, and the people from Yunyu Commercial Bank also avoided, and the two talked alone. Yingxi said bluntly, as long as Elder Zhang promises one thing, Yunyu Commercial Bank will immediately join the business alliance. Zhang Qianfeng frowned, Zhang will do his best. Yingxi shook his head and said, this matter is very easy for Elder Zhang, that is, we want to know where Elder Zhang's limb extension pills come from. We need limb extension pills, and it's the kind of limb extension pills that Elder Zhang takes. Zhang Qianfeng was shocked, what was the difference? For the Yunyu Commercial Bank, the sustained limb pill should be able to be obtained by paying a little price. The Silver Wolf clan has a huge territory, and there are many unique resources and spiritual materials. It is often difficult for people to find it from the Silver Wolf. There must be people who are willing to exchange it for the supplement pill. Could it be that the Silver Wolf clan guessed that they were taking the top-grade limb extension pill? Yin 11 looked straight at Zhang Qinzi and said, because it's difficult for the ordinary limb supplement pill to restore Elder Zhang to the current level, if Elder Zhang is taking a low-grade or even a middle-grade limb supplement pill, it can't be so fast. As far as congealing the infant and transcending the calamity, it can only be said that the limb extension pill obtained by Elder Zhang is of extraordinary grade, and the curative effect is naturally very different. Sure enough, he was negligent. At that time, he only wanted to condense the baby as soon as possible, so as to relieve the pressure on Behi City. Besides, he had not taken other limb extension pills, so he had no way of knowing the effect. Guyao might not know the difference so much. Obviously Yingxi has seen it before. Zhang Qianfeng couldn't help laughing and said, how can the big steward be sure that I can still get a second good quality supplemental limb pill? Now it was Yingxi's turn to frown. Zhang Qianfeng felt a lot of joy when he saw it, he couldn't let him worry alone. Yingxi looked at Zhang Qianfeng suspiciously, and called to the back, Hu Meng, come and tell me. Zhang Qianfeng smiled lightly and looked over, Hu Meng, from the Fox clan, he must have been the think tank by Yingxi's side. If it was Yingxi himself, he would probably be more willing to use his fists to solve it. I saw a beautiful man in a white suit with gold inlaid walking over with a feather fan. He was full of gorgeousness from head to toe, but with the smile on his face, it looked very, Sao Bao. Zhang Qianfeng silently added the last two words in my heart. The gorgeous and saucy man walked closer, pinned the fan behind his waist, and clasped his fists and said, Hu Meng has heard the name of Pavilion Master Zhang for a long time, and I will finally see you today. Zhang Mao has also heard the name of fellow Daoist Hu for a long time. Zhang Qianfeng returned the salute. Yingxi looked at Hu Meng displeasedly, and said something. Why did he talk so much nonsense? Hu Meng took out his fan and sat down, laughing at Elder Zhang at Yingxi's reaction. We, the Yunyu Chamber of Commerce, are determined to obtain a good quality continuation limb and are willing to pay any price. Elder Zhang may wish to think more about it. Zhang Qianfeng smiled slightly. Any price? What if it was said to destroy Changxianmen? As long as the surnamed Huo still sits in the position of the head of Changxianmen, there is no room for easing the conflict between their family and Changxianmen. Hu Meng blinked. Could it be that Elder Zhang wants to challenge the battle between the human and the demon clan? It should be interesting to say that there has not been a battle that swept the entire continent on our Qinhao continent. Zhang Qianfeng laughed. Forget the nonsense I said, I don't want to be a sinner through the ages. Hu Meng smiled and said, so the supplemental limb pill can still be obtained, right? Zhang Qianfeng shook his head and denied that these words did not come out of my mouth. Yin 11's brows tightened, and he looked at Zhang Qianfeng displeasedly, thinking that he was going to fight him. Monster clan, most of the time, they rely on fists to solve problems. Hu Meng changed the question, and the Elder Zhang thought, what price do we need to pay to get the supplemental limb pill? Zhang Qianfeng knew that the other party had already decided that he could get the supplemental limb pill again. If it was another time, he might have refused, but this time Gu Yao had something to ask for. If they can handle Gu Yao's affairs well, I believe Gu Yao they won't be short of a pill. So he said, if you can find a monk named Fen Yinhua, this monk may be able to help you get what you want. Fen Yinhua, Hu Meng repeated the name. Could it be that he is an alchemist? Zhang Qianfeng said, I only said that he has something to do with what you want, so when looking for it, you must ensure his safety. Hu Meng and Yingxi glanced at each other. This matter is not easy to handle. The person they are looking for must be a human repair. Zhang Qinzi seems to be unable to find a person who is repaired alone. Can they be found by the demon repair? The demon cultivator can't penetrate too deep into the human cultivator's interior, and it is far better than the information of these forces of the human cultivator. To ensure safety, that is, you can't find it with great fanfare. At this price, it's better to use real gold and real silver to smash it. The good news is not without it, they are not worth a visit. At least one thing has been confirmed from Zhang Qinzi, that is, there is not only one limb supplement pill he takes, and there are ways to get it. The matter was not settled, but it did not collapse, so the people of Yunyu Commercial Bank continued to stay in the business alliance, which made the newly appointed alliance leader relieved. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 244. After Zhang Qianfeng left, Yingxi asked Hu Meng, what did you see? Hu Meng shook his feather fan and said, first, you can definitely get a good quality supplement pill, maybe even a top quality sutra pill. Yingxi said impatiently, isn't this nonsense? It's useful to say something. I didn't hear this meaning earlier in the conversation just now, so why do you need to repeat it again? Hu Meng still smiled. Secondly, this medicinal pill should be related to the mysterious alchemist who has recently become famous. The special person Zhang Qianfeng came into contact with before and after Ningying was also the alchemist, and wanted to inquire about the cultivator Fen Jianhua. It should also be that Yao Danji, so Zhang Qianfeng said that if we can find Fen Yinhua, we can also get what we want. Yin Zaizuo suddenly said, then why is it so troublesome? Why don't we just find that Yao Danji? Hu Meng spread his hands and said, then you have to know where others are. Why don't we prepare with both hands and look for both of them? Soon, the auction raised by the Business Alliance officially kicked off. Because of the good publicity, monks from all over the world gathered in the Business Alliance, and even big sects like Taluiman and Changxianmen sent representatives to participate. Because there are also items on the list that make them tempted, and even the nascent soul cultivator who has not been born for a long time also showed up. The major firms that joined the business alliance are also very excited at this moment. Such a grand scene can be recorded in the history books. Before the business alliance, no business firm had the strength to hold such a grand auction, because it could not suppress so many UN baby monk. The Jindan cultivators who came here can be mad in other places, but here they all huddled up honestly, for fear that they would accidentally offend a nascent soul cultivator, and let them destroy them into ashes, even if it was a Jindan or even build it up. There may also be an ancestor of Yuan Ying behind him. The entire auction lasted for 10 days, and all the auctions included all kinds of resources used by Jindan cultivators and above, and the items used by foundation building cultivators could not enter such an auction. After the auction, many monks still talked about the grand occasion of the auction and the various treasures that were auctioned. Several Jindan cultivators were talking in the restaurant, and the items that could only be used by nascent soul cultivators were beyond their reach, but they were very keen on various items suitable for the Jindan stage. There are so many top-grade pills auctioned this time. It must be that Yao Alchemist who took it out. Yao Alchemist must have cooperated with Jianfeng Pavilion. Because the news is not difficult to find out, these top-grade pills are provided by Jianfeng Pavilion. Although the business alliance is an alliance of major companies, each company has great autonomy, otherwise it will not attract the participation of various companies. I also heard that many nascent soul cultivators are inquiring about the whereabouts of this Yao Danchi. When he was in Jianjian city before, he only formed a pill, and it has only been a long time before he can refine a high-grade top-grade pill. When he can refine the top-grade pill of the 6th grade, it is estimated that those nascent soul masters will offer him up. Some nascent soul cultivators just want to give him a hand at this time, and it will be easier to invite him to make alchemy in the future. Therefore, the loose cultivator nascent soul is even more eager for the 6th grade alchemist. It's really enviable. By the way, this time there is also a top quality Qing Chen pill, and even nascent soul cultivators participated in the auction. It seems that some of the previous rumors are still reasonable. This Qing Chen pill includes the previous quenching spirit. Dan, I'm afraid it's all about Yao Danchi. I didn't expect Changxianmen and that Li Qi. So shameless, one of the monks swallowed the following words to prevent the partition from having heirs. Lu Huajing and Ying Muking, who were sitting next door, looked at each other. Since the auction ended, I don't know how many people have mentioned this, and the doubts about Changxianmen have become louder and louder. They are also very ashamed as Changxianmen disciples. Li Qi is about to become notorious, isn't his own thing so easy to reach? Now it's up to you. Ying Wei wiped his face and said, Senior brother, who do you think is chasing and killing us along the way? This journey can be described as dangerous and dangerous. Ying Muking feels that he is able to survive because of the blessing of Senior Brother Lu, because Senior Brother Lu has the life-saving things given by his Yuan Ying ancestor, which is enough to ensure that he can survive in Yuan Ying. Survived by the monk's attack. Of course, there are some words that Ying Muking can only think about in his heart. He thinks that the people who chase and kill them are really going to deal with Senior Brother Lu. There is no benefit, so I can't just see the bad side, Lu Huajing said with a cold face. Besides Huo Ming's bastard, who else would want to get rid of me? I have already told the ancestors, and the ancestors said they would deal with them. Ying Muking sighed inwardly. If he wants to return to the sect now, he will probably be targeted by Huo Ming. If he can't deal with Lu Huajing, there is a very high possibility that he will relieve his anger, so let's be honest. Lu Huajing, let's leave the Spirit Stone and go, let's take a mission. At this time, many forces left the location of the business alliance one after another. For the safety of the return journey, many cultivators were often hired to increase their protective strength. Of course, the two took the task not for the purpose of picking up spirit stones, but for training with these teams. The two did not reveal their identities as Changxianmen disciples outside, but walked outside as loose cultivators. Yingxi and Hu Meng are also preparing to return, and the Yunya Chamber of Commerce also provided some auction items. At the same time, they also smashed spirit stones and grabbed a lot of medicinal pills. Among them, top-grade pills were the main ones. Especially an alchemist with superb alchemy skills, Yin 11 had an idea. If he could find that alchemist Yao, he would simply tie him back to the Silver Wolf clan, and let him concoct alchemy for his own clan. Your idea is too dangerous. As far as I know, the Thunder Sword cultivator around Yao Danji is very good. If this kind of sword repair with amazing lethality can't be completely solved, it is difficult to guarantee that it will grow up and kill the Silver Wolf one day. Clan, leaving huge troubles for the Silver Wolf clan, so Hu Meng persuaded bitterly. Wordy, Yingxi spit out two words expressionlessly, causing Hu Meng to choke up to the point where the fox's eyes turned white. Who is he doing this for? If he loves to tie it, he will tie it up. Anyway, it will be the Silver Wolf clan, not the Fox clan, who will suffer. Why should he worry about it? Yin 11 turned around and said, "What you said is not without reason." Hu Meng was too lazy to talk to this madman, so he turned his head and got into the car. Most of the demons dislike the fragile human monks, but they also know that the number of human monks is very large, far from being comparable to the demon monks, and there will always be a few outstanding among this huge number. Among the characters, Jiangxiu with excellent swordsmanship is an astonishing existence. When encountering such a guy, Yaoxiu is not willing to provoke him if he does not provoke it. Knowing that Yingxi had left, Zhang Qianfeng raised his eyebrows. He already knew from the kimchi store in Fenjian City that Hu Mei of the Fox clan was eyeing Gu Yao, so when Hu Meng knew that the person he was looking for was actually on the demon cultivator's side, he didn't know what to expect. What expression, but unfortunately he couldn't see it with his own eyes. Gu Yao didn't know the relationship between Hu Mei and Hu Meng, but Zhang Qianfeng knew about it. Windy Rock City. Gu Yao informed Hu Mei to come to get the medicine pill. In fact, he had already made it, but he took the time to give it. The medicine master can be so self-willed, and Gu Yao felt that he didn't need to be so diligent. Hu Mei arrived at the first time. This time the little fat man also went out, and the 4 elephants killing formation was also reinforced. I heard Tian Firong whispering to him about this female fox repairer, but he was so courageous in front of Chi Changjai prying the corner. The little fat man maintained a high degree of interest in Hu Mei and watched the whole process. Gu Yao rolled his eyes at the two guys watching the show, handed the medicine pill to Hu Mei, and withheld half of it according to the rules. Hu Mei took a look one by one, and said with joy, "Alchemy Yao is really good. Alchemy Yao hasn't been out for a few days. I'm afraid I don't know how grand the auction held by the Business Alliance will be, and Alchemist Yao has also come back, but it's still my best deal. Those cultivators are holding a lot of spirit stones at the auction to Yao Danji's best pills. I only need to run a few steps." Tian Firong and the little fat man twitched the corners of their mouths. Was Hu Mei's words out of anger at Gu Yao on purpose, or why? Shouldn't it be to show off to outsiders? Hu Mei put away the medicinal pills contentedly, then took out a box and pushed it in front of Gu Yao. "This is a thank you gift to Gu Alchemist." Although half of the pills were deducted according to the rules, most of the pills made by Gu Yao were top-grade pills, so he definitely couldn't follow the rules of ordinary pill masters, so when this gift came, Gu Yao certainly wouldn't push it out, and he received it with peace of mind. He opened the box on the spot, and after seeing the contents clearly, Gu Yao showed joy, and finally did not reject Hu Mei so much. "Thank you, I like this spirit grass very much." There is only one spirit grass in the box, but this spirit grass is very special. It is said that it only grows in a secret realm of the Fox clan. It looks like a fox's tail, so it is also called foxtail grass. However, it is used to refine the soul. Hume Jiao, who is the main medicine of pill, is used to increase the soul. Hume Jiao smiled and said, alchemy Yao likes it. If Pill Master Yao joins our Fox clan, the secret realm of the Fox clan will also be available. Ho! This female fox repair didn't forget to pry the corner. Tianfirong and Little Fatty looked over with wide-eyed eyes. Chi Changjai glanced at Hume coldly, but didn't say anything. Gu Yao smiled, you Daiyu who knows that it's impossible, so don't talk anymore. Hume rolled her eyes a few times, but didn't answer the question directly. She thought that she would find a good-looking male fox repairer to come over and take a look. Maybe Gu Yao would be like Chi Changjai, so she didn't care about her charm. Shake. Hume did not get the medicine pill and left, but stayed to talk about a lot of business alliances and auctions. Tianfirong and Little Fatty were also very interested. The news of Fenjian City must be a few steps behind, so some they don't even know the situation. After Hume left, Tianfirong and Fatty said regretfully, it's a pity, we didn't get to see the scene, just listening to the description was very shocking. Chi Changjai glanced at them lightly, this kind of auction has begun, it will not be held only once, and there will be opportunities in the future. Not long after, the shopkeeper of the Kinchi store sent a large sum of spirit stones, and said what the Silver Moon Chamber of Commerce asked for, as well as the countermeasures of the pavilion owner. Gu Yao thanked the shopkeeper, and when he looked back, he felt amused again. The shopkeeper has already left, and the little fat man laughed, isn't the Yunya Chamber of Commerce making a big circle? Gu Yao, you are here, they went to Beihe City to find someone, but, it should be concealed. It won't be long. There is no guarantee that there will be a second or third demon cultivator who can recognize them with Hume, and it seems that the relationship between the Fox clan and the Yunya Chamber of Commerce is very shallow, so Hume's status in the Fox clan should not be low. As long as Hume as soon as May brings the best pill back and shows up, she will let them know that the person they are looking for is in Fenjian City. Gu Yao smiled, it's okay, just find it when you find it, just like Pavilion Master Zhang, one more force to help me find out about my uncle's whereabouts. I can't believe that a person will always leave traces after practicing for so long. Hurry up and hurry up. Yin 11 and his party finally returned to their own site. Yin 11 packed up, and was going to go to the clan to meet the patriarch of the Yinlang clan to report on the trip, when Hume flicked her tail and jumped. Come here, when I saw Yin 11, I was honest. It was a big step away, so there must be pressure. Hearing the voice of his sister outside, Hume walked out, why are you here? This girl is always wandering outside. It is difficult to find her if he doesn't run back by himself. There must be something wrong with running back by himself. Thinking of cleaning up the mess for this girl, Hume has a headache. Hume poked eldest brother's shoulder, brother, what are you talking about, why can't I come? Knowing that eldest brother went to the business alliance and participated in the auction, sister, I want to see what you brought as soon as possible. Something back. Hume's eyes flickered with sly eyes, and Hume said subconsciously, don't even think about opening the back door from me, I won't give you anything good in private, I've already sent someone to send it back to the clan. Oh, he. Hume turned around her eldest brother with her hands behind her back, then shook her hair and said, isn't it just a few top-grade pills, who cares? Hume was surprised, why isn't it rare? Did you get it too? When there are good things, it's strange that his sister doesn't do anything. Then, he suddenly thought of his sister's innate supernatural powers, and quickly reached out to grab him, and said excitedly, could it be that alchemist Yao came to our demon cultivation site? Did you find him? Yin 11, who didn't want to get involved in the bickering between the brothers and sisters, immediately retracted the foot she stepped out of, and turned around and came to the front of the brothers and sisters. Yin 11 directly stretched out her hand to Hume, and Hume laughed unscrupulously. She couldn't control her sister, but Yingxi could. Mei's quirky body had no room for Yingxi. Mei wailed in her heart, looked at Yingxi, and blinked at her eldest brother, but Meng stood with his arms folded and smiled lightly. Mei stomped her feet in anger, but reluctantly took out a bottle of medicinal pills, the next moment disappeared in his own hands. As soon as Yingxi opened the jade bottle, it turned out to be a top-quality pill, and handed it to Meng. "Look, is it from the same alchemist that we bought?" Meng checked for a while and affirmed, "Yes, it is Alchemy Yao." "Girl, where did you find Alchemy Yao? Take us to him." Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 245. After learning that Gu Yao was in Fenjian City and had been living there for a while, Meng couldn't help but patted his forehead. He was on his own territory, but he went out to find a circle, as if God had opened up with them. Like a joke. Yin 11 also reassured a lot while letting Meng take care of the situation of Gu Yao and his party. He first went to the clan to report the matter. Meng also resisted the urge to find someone immediately, and took pictures after Yin 11 left. He patted Mei's head. "It's rare that you can do something serious, tell me, what reward do you want?" Mei smugly shook the fox's tail, and took the opportunity to ask her elder brother for a favor. Yingxi returned to the clan, came to the top of the mountain where the patriarch was, and told the patriarch about Meng's speculation and Gu Yao's location. The patriarch of the Silver Wolf clan also had silver hair, with some vicissitudes in his eyes, and he was a little excited when he heard it. "Does that Yao alchemist really have a top-grade limb extension pill in his hand?" Yingxi said. Meng said yes. The patriarch didn't want to miss this opportunity. "Okay, I'll take Xiaoun to go to Alchemy Yao with you. By the way, who do you think Alchemy Yao is looking for?" Yin 11 replied to a man named Fen Yinhua Shihu. "Fen Jianhua," the patriarch repeated these three words, frowning slightly. "It seems a little familiar, don't care, go see someone first. If Dan Master Yao can save Yunur, my Silver Wolf clan will do my best. Help Alchemy Yao find someone." "Okay." The patriarch picked up a silver wolf and left the clan with Yingxi. After meeting with Meng, he hurried to Fenjian City without disturbing the city owner of Fenjian City. Address: Meng sent a message to the cave. "Meng? Yunya Chamber of Commerce? Sure enough, I can't escape, but I'm still here. Let them come in." It turns out that Mei's eldest brother is in the Yunya Chamber of Commerce. Gu Yao was surprised when he heard the incoming voice. What surprised Gu Yao and Qi Changjai was that among the three cultivators who came in, two of them had unfathomable auras. Qi Changjai had seen the Yuan Ying cultivator. Needless to say, these two were both with Yuan Ying's strength. One of them made him feel a lot of pressure, knowing that he was not an ordinary nascent soul. It was Meng who held the feather fan and surrendered to the four of Gu Yao. He said, "I am Mei's eldest brother Meng. Before Mei did something wrong, my eldest brother apologized to all fellow deists for her. It is the patriarch of the Silver Wolf clan, and this is Yin 11, the chief steward of the Silver Moon Chamber of Commerce, who has come to visit Alchemist Yao." This identity shocked the four of them, including Qi Changjai. "I didn't expect that the patriarch of the Silver Wolf clan would come in person, so what I asked for was no trivial matter." Qi Changjai couldn't help but look at Gu Yao with worry. Gu Yao's eyes fell on the little silver wolf held in the patriarch's arms. The little silver wolf was curled up on all fours, and it was obvious that there was a problem. When Yingxi wanted to say something, Meng gave him a wink. It was enough for their patriarch to come. The patriarch took a few steps forward. "Alchemy Yao, I wonder if this child's symptoms can be cured." The patriarch put the little silver wolf on the table. The little silver wolf whimpered, and the patriarch stroked its little head to comfort him. Meng explained, "Yao Danchi, the silver patriarch has only one child under his knees, Xiaoun, who was severely injured in the mother's body. The limbs were not well developed at birth, and now this situation has already taken a limb extension pill. This time I specially want to ask Yao Danshi to take action. Tian Firong and the others were also amazed. When they came here, they heard a lot about the demon cultivator, but not much about the young master of the Silver Wolf clan. It was a kind of protection for the young master. Looking at its limbs now, it has already used the continuation of the limbs, but the limbs are still weak, and they can't even stand up, so there is no way to talk about cultivation. It is conceivable that the situation is even worse without using the supplemental limb pill. Gu Yao used his spiritual sense to investigate the physical condition of the little silver wolf. The cat cub and the crystal snake came out of nowhere, and they were also curious about this little silver wolf. The silver patriarch said solemnly, "If Alchemist Yao is willing to help, and if Alchemist Yao needs it, the Silver Wolf clan will definitely go all out." The heart of Quan Can's beloved son was fully revealed, and Gu Yao sighed, "All I can take out is the limb supplement pill. I don't know what effect it can achieve. The Silver Patriarch will use it for the young patriarch first." Gu Yao didn't mention what he asked the Silver Wolf clan to do, not to mention that the patriarch of the Silver Wolf clan came to the door in person today, and there was also a nascent soul demon Chiu. "Have mercy, he will do his best to help if he can." Gu Yao took out a top-grade limb extension pill and handed it to Patriarch Yin 11, and Hu Meng showed excitement in their eyes. It really was a top-grade limb extension pill. This means that the medicinal pill was refined by Gu Yao himself, and he has long GE blood, the main medicine for refining the limb extension pill. The little silver wolf looked at the top-grade extremity pill with longing in his wolf eyes, and some apprehension. The silver patriarch clenched the pill tightly, and then said to Gu Yao, "Thank you, the need for pill was taken out." This was a different alchemist from the alchemist he had found. "Don't be afraid, Yunur, Daddy will help you dissolve the medicinal power in the medicine pill, and the pain will be over soon." The silver clan leader comforted his younger son and brought the medicine pill to his mouth. The little silver clan nodded head, and then swallowed the medicinal pill in one mouthful. Gu Yao has never seen anyone else use the supplemental limb pill, and I don't know what the situation will be after taking it. Although the vitality contained in the sustained limb pill is a very mild strength, just like the situation of the little silver wolf at the moment, it should be used. The limbs are broken and reorganized again. This process is not easy, not to mention that it is so small, and there is not much cultivation base to support it. It can only be supported by the external force of Yin Patriarch. Sure enough, the little silver wolf twitched all over and let out a painful whimper. The silver clan hugged it tightly, put one hand on the back to input his own spiritual power, and at the same time, he crushed his limbs ruthlessly. The little silver wolf looks good on him. His silver hair was soaked in blood in an instant. I don't know how long it took. Yin 11 couldn't stand it anymore. The limbs of the little silver wolf grew again. From the beginning of the powdery granulation, the whole process was like a miracle, and it was a pleasant surprise. The thing is that the newly grown limbs are obviously much thicker than the previous ones. Until the limbs were covered with a thin layer of fluff, the torturing process finally stopped, and the little silver wolf whimpered and fainted. The body was either blood or sweat, sticking together wetly, but the abdomen undulated together. Its vital signs are described. Patriarch Yin, with such a profound cultivation base, actually turned pale, not because of too much energy, but because of nervousness. He checked his son's limbs again, and a smile appeared on his face. This time he succeeded, and he would be healthy and normal. His limbs, stretched out his hand, and his spiritual power turned around. The stains on the little silver wolf's body were immediately removed, and the silver hair was fluffy again. Although these limbs are still a little immature because of the new students, Gu Yao knows that he no longer needs to intervene, and the Silver Wolf clan will definitely not lack the treasures of heaven and earth and various spiritual things to recuperate. The Silver Patriarch hugged the little silver wolf in his arms. His movements were very gentle. He wiped the sweat from his forehead with his sleeve, and said to Guyao that he would like to thank alchemist Yao, which made alchemy Yao laugh. "Where, Patriarch Yin, please take a seat, and the two of you, please." Guyao asked them to sit down, and after arriving here, he circled around the little silver wolf without taking a sip of the tea, and only then did he have time to entertain them. After brewing spirit tea to get spirit fruit, Patriarch Yin felt a lot calmer after drinking a cup of spirit tea. At least on the surface, Qi Changjai and Guyao could no longer see his mood changes. Self-power. The Silver Patriarch put down the teacup, then looked at Qi Changjai, looked at him a few times, and said, "You are very good, the power in your body is very powerful. After you congeal the infant and become the nascent infant, you will definitely have a seat on this Qinhao continent." Bit. He doesn't mean to treat Qi Changjai as the early stage of nascent soul. For a cultivator of nascent soul at his level, the early stage of nascent soul cultivator among humans is not worth mentioning at all, but he can see the difference in Qi Changjai, and Qi Changjai has an alchemist like Guyao by his side, and with his own talent, the process of condensing infants does not need his help. His eyes turned to Tianfirong. Tianfirong was a little helpless, and the pressure was too great. Patriarch Yin said how many years he hadn't seen anyone who cultivated a cultivator, and with the growth of Qingjian, the monks would become more and more powerful, but also brings a drawback. Guyao was startled. The little fat man looked at Tianfirong worriedly. Qi Changjai frowned slightly. "Senior, do you mean that cultivating to a certain level will cause the cultivator to become too angry?" "That's right," the Silver Patriarch nodded and said, "so little friend should be prepared early, lest it be affected by Qingjian." Tianfirong took a deep breath, cupped his hands and said, "Thank you for the guidance, Senior, this junior will remember it." His special physique gave him a way to pursue strength. However, everything has advantages and disadvantages, but he believes that there must be a way for the car to the front of the mountain. The Silver Patriarch looked at the little fat man again. The little fat man blinked, and the Silver Patriarch smiled a little, which made the little fat man flattered, but he heard the Silver Patriarch say, "This little friend will cultivate step by step." Name. The little fat man rubbed his face. It was hard for him to look forward to it just now. This does not mean that he is actually the most ordinary of the four, but he still thanked the Silver Patriarch. Hu Meng covered half of his face with a fan to steal fun. He knew why the Silver Patriarch smiled at the little fat man, because he loved his younger son, so he would be more tolerant to cute creatures. Patriarch Yin's eyes finally fell back to Guyao, which made Guyao also nervous. He didn't know what Patriarch Yin would say to him. Until now, he still knew that Patriarch Yin expressed his gratitude by pointing them. What he said about Tianfirong's situation made Guyao very grateful. The Silver Patriarch tilted his head slightly. "Yao Danji wants to find Feng Yinhua? Before I came, I felt a little familiar, like I heard it somewhere, and now I remember it." Guyao's breathing suddenly became rapid, and Qi Changjai reached out and held his hand to comfort him. "You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 246. The Patriarch of the Silver Wolf clan looked down at the little silver wolf in his arms and said, "Speaking of which, this is related to Xiaoun's severe injury in the mother's body. You and the Fenjian who you are looking for are blood relatives, and your physiques should be similar. But the guy in my memory was named Yinhua, but I heard another guy who covered his face say something. Whether you are Yinhua or Fenjianhua, you have to hand over things to me honestly. I didn't pay much attention to it at the time, so when I first heard the name Fenjianhua, I felt a little familiar, but I couldn't remember where I heard it." Guyao was excited, and he had a great feeling that Yinhua, who was in the mouth of the Silver Patriarch, should be the uncle he was looking for, and he was very worried. What about this cultivator Yinhua later? Who is going to deal with him? Patriarch Yin used his spiritual power to outline a figure. Guyao quickly nodded when he saw it. Yes, it's him. Patriarch Yin guessed right, he is my uncle, but I was not born when my uncle left, so I only saw his uncle's image, but I have never seen my uncle in person. The image in the air quickly dissipated, and Yin 11 and Hu Meng did not expect that the Fen Yin Hua Guyao was looking for was this Yin Hua, but it was more troublesome to find out. Qi Changjai withdrew his gaze and looked at Patriarch Yin. Patriarch Yin, does it mean that the monk who asked Uncle Yin to hand over things and the one who hurt the young master's mother are the same group? Not bad, Yin Patriarch affirmed Qi Changjai's speculation, which made Guyao and Qi Changjai look at each other, which would be troublesome. If they dared to attack the Silver Wolf clan, the strength of this group must be standing in Qinhao continent. At the top level, he and Guyao have absolutely no strength to compare with them now. Tian Firong and Fatty also looked at each other worriedly. This was very troublesome. Patriarch Yin told Guyao and Qi Changjai about the whole incident. Patriarch Yin was the most powerful member of the Silver Wolf clan. His strength reached the late Yuanying period. It can fight a fight, so it is in existence at the top of the pyramid on Qinhao continent. However, the Silver Wolf clan like this is still being targeted by a group of guys with their heads and faces covered. More precisely, they are staring at the treasures handed down from the Silver Wolf clan. With this treasure, the Silver Wolf clan can greatly improve the awakening of Xiaoyu's bloodline. With the Silver Patriarch, it is difficult for the other party to get the treasure. At this moment, Yi, a concubine of the Silver Patriarch who has never had children, is pregnant. It is difficult to have any descendants if he reaches his strength, so the Silver Patriarch he attaches great importance to this little silver wolf that has not yet been born, and has sent experts from the clan to protect him. Unfortunately, this weakness is being watched by secret people. The people in the dark took advantage of the tactic of turning the tiger away from the mountain and sent experts to deal with the pregnant concubine. When the Silver Patriarch hurried to see the emergency signal, most of the guards who stayed beside the concubine were killed and injured. In the middle, the angry Patriarch Yin asked the clan to rescue the concubines while chasing and killing this group of underhanded people. After killing most of them, he received a message from the clan. The clan chief who had stolen the treasure of his family would not be clear at this moment. In spite of the enemy's plan, as the Patriarch, he must appease the clan members in the Hui clan, and at the same time send additional staff to track down the whereabouts of the clan treasure and the enemy. Find it yourself. At the same time, he had to save the life of the child and the concubine. His concubine was seriously injured, and he passed away after leaving his last vitality to the fetus in his womb. The little silver wolf was born, but it was stunted. The spirits in the Silver Wolf clan and the Silver Patriarch personally delivered spiritual power to warm and nourish its body. After the birth of the little silver wolf, the Silver Patriarch kept going out to track down the real murderer and the treasure thief. Although the Silver Wolf clan treasure was sealed by the other party, the Silver Patriarch could still feel a little bit, even if it happened from time to time, but with this weak contact, he really grabbed the other party's exposed tail, and Guyao's uncle Yin Hua met during one of the investigations. The Silver Patriarch looked at Guyao and said, "Your uncle should also have treasures like my clan treasure. Because of my arrival, your uncle should have fled, but he was targeted by those things like quagmire mice. People, it is estimated that it is difficult to really escape." Guyao frowned. After hearing this, he knew that things were much more complicated than he thought. The Silver Wolf clan were helpless with these guys, and it was even harder for my uncle to fight them. It's safe, so why does my uncle want to come back? What do the forces in the dark want these treasures for? The Silver Patriarch sneered. How could one of his patriarchs not be angry when he was so tricked by these invisible mice? I have not found anything in these years, but I finally let him know some things. You should have heard of our cultivation continent. In the ancient times, there was a war of hundreds of clans, which was said to have shattered the heaven and the earth. Now it is torn apart, and the Kinhao continent is only one of them. However, the time has passed for so long that few people know that there are in a special place. The outside is sealed by layers of enchantment, but the inside is the battlefield of the ancient times. It is said that the dead on this battlefield are all powerful monks of the ancient times. Chi Changjai said solemnly, "Do they want to open the sealed barrier and enter the powerhouse to obtain the ancient power?" Madman. Gu Yao also guessed this idea, but also felt that this is an idea only a lunatic would have. If it was really so good, why did the former great master seal that place? Once the seal is broken, it is estimated that the demon will be released on this continent. Yes, a group of wishful thinking guys, trying to gain power through shortcuts, but some of these secret guys are really powerful, and their strength is a bit weird. It's also miscellaneous, like using the power of others to draw from evil methods. There are people in this group of cultivators, and there are demon cultivators who were bewitched by the past. Otherwise, how could the thieves sneak into the secret place of the Silver Wolf clan to steal the family treasure? And when the news of the concubine's pregnancy came out, there were internal thieves colluding with foreign enemies. Gu Yao frowned. What does the patriarch think of Chang Xianmen? Yao Danqi suspects that Chang Xianmen is the force behind it, Patriarch Yin asked. Gu Yao looked at Qi Changjai and the others. Seeing that they didn't respond, he picked up some information about their situation in the Tianlin continent. Like it was done by the same people. Yin Patriarch pondered for a moment, and said, "It is not surprising that someone from Chang Xianmen is involved, but I suspect that not only Chang Xianmen is involved. This time it's even more troublesome." Gu Yao and Qi Changjai will not doubt the words of Patriarch Yin. After all, he has been investigating for so long and has dealt with the other party several times. Gu Yao and Qi Changjai asked Patriarch Yin about some more information, and then they sent Patriarch Yin away respectfully. Patriarch Yin gave them a token before leaving. With this token, they could enter and leave the land of the Silver Wolf clan. "Thank you." A few days later, Yin 11 came over in person. In addition to sending a large sum of spirit stones and materials, he also brought information about Yin Hua. Gu Yao also went to the Qinchi store in person and asked the shopkeeper to send a message to their pavilion master, "Stop investigating Feng Yinhua, and check Yin Hua instead, but he needs to be more cautious." Zhang Qianfeng was surprised when he received the communication. Naturally, he wanted to find a way to get the information Gu Yao wanted to know. The name Feng Yinhua could not be found, but Yin Hua still had a direction, because his surname was Yin. Yin family. It used to be a hidden family on the Kinhao continent. Later, I heard that they were hunted down for the enemy, and the Yin family was also wiped out. I didn't expect that Gu Yao would be involved with the Yin family. Gu Yao's face was very ugly while holding the two documents. Tian Firong was also on the side. At this moment he could understand Gu Yao's mood, just like when he heard that he was from the blood of the Yan clan, but the Yan clan was almost wiped out. Seeing the information on the information, Gu Yao can probably understand why his uncle left the original hostess in Yuanyang town. At least no one knows their identities in that place, so he can live his life in peace and worry, and he also left behind some protective measures, but the world is unpredictable. Can Huai think that the original mistress will die to protect a scumbag? Qi Changjai grabbed Gu Yao's shoulders, and Gu Yao shook his head, indicating that he was okay. "It's useless to hurt the spring and the autumn, so let's talk about what to do next. I'm worried that I may not be here for a long time." "Well, we must go," Qi Changjai insisted. The Silver Patriarch also said that there are monks inside this demon cultivator who colluded with outside thieves, so the situation of the young master of the Silver Wolf clan should not be hidden for long, and it is easy for people to infer after taking the supplement Dan. "I guess that we might be here." Brother Qi said to go, then go, but if you want to go, where should you go next? Little Fatty has no hesitation about leaving or staying. The danger of staying here is even greater. Protect the wolf clan, it will never grow up. Chi Changjai pointed at the map and said, let's go to the realm of Changxianmen and try to sneak into Changxianmen. Changxianmen is always the biggest suspicious object, so it's better to start there first. The four of them discussed the details, but it was not suitable for them to act together again. The goals of the four were too obvious. Another point is that there are many capable people in the cultivation world, and there are too many monks who can see through their physiques, such as Humei, and the patriarch of the Silver Wolf clan. This time, it is more dangerous to go to the Changxianmen realm than other places. Gu Yao went to the Yunyu Merchant Guild to meet Yingxi, and expressed his intention directly, and wanted to ask the patriarch Yin to help make 4 hidden jade talismans. You want to leave? It's dangerous outside, Yin 11 advised. Gu Yao smiled, it's not dangerous, even if you stay in the Silver Wolf clan all the time, you can't guarantee that you won't run into danger, it's better to go out and try, even if you fail, you will be willing to. Of course Yingxi admires such people. Keeping people is just to tell the patriarch that Gu Yao's alchemy skills are really amazing. I really don't want him to go out on an adventure and die in the middle, but if Gu Yao wants to leave, they won't force them to keep people. After all, Gu Yao he saved the young master and was the benefactor of the Silver Wolf clan. I wish you all the best. Thank you. As soon as he said go, when the shopkeeper of the kimchi shop found the cave where the four of Gu Yao were located, he found that someone had gone to the house, leaving only a message, indicating that he had gone out to experience the training, and hoped to convey to the pavilion owner. I was a little confused again. I walked too suddenly and didn't even say hello. After returning, I honestly passed the situation to the general pavilion. Humei was so angry that she sold some top-grade pills in the clan, and got a lot of gains, and there were many flattering people. I hope she can get more top-grade pills, and those who secretly inquire about the whereabouts of Alchemist Yao, they can go directly to the door and ask for help. Dan, but Humei will not give up this fortune. But when she came to Gaiao Dongfu with the spirit grass, she almost cried wow when she saw people going to the empty building. What about people? Her best Dan. If she had known that Gu Yao would leave so soon, she would not have traded a single top-grade pill. It must be the good thing that the eldest brother broke her. Humei ran to Humeng and tossed it for a while. It must be that the eldest brother did something good to scare people away. The eldest brother is a profiteer. It was so troublesome that Humeng had to promise some benefits to get peace. After Humei left, Yin 11 only appeared. Although Humei was afraid of his cold face, he was actually tingling with Humei's torment, so he never showed up when Humei was here before. Humeng sighed, this girl has replaced most of the top-grade pills on her body with spirit grass and spirit stones. Now that Master Yao has left, she has come to me to settle the bill. I am specially looking after her for her feelings. Where do you say they're going? Yin 11 shook his head, I don't know, but recently, people from the Silver Wolf clan and Fenjian city have been secretly inquiring about the news, and the cave dwelling where Danchi Yao and the others live has been touched several times. No matter how careful those people are, they still leave traces, so at this time Yao Dan finds out that they are leaving. Yin 11 now thinks that Gu Yao is right. There is no danger. Even if he agrees to take shelter in the Silver Wolf clan, there are people in the clan, and some people who were hidden in the past are secretly active, Gu Yao will also be in danger. Hu Meng said regretfully, it's a pity, I didn't ask Alchemist Yao to make more pills. I don't know when Alchemist Yao will show up again. Who would have thought that Gu Yao and the others were so decisive? They left as soon as they said it, but the timing was also chosen well, and if they were one step later, they might be intercepted. The two were talking about Alchemy Yao here. Inside and outside Fenjian city, the news of Alchemy Yao was also exposed. The original cave house was visited by more monks. At this time, they didn't want to see Alchemy Yao, because there were rumors that alchemy Yao had left Fenjian City. More monks want to get some breath, especially alchemy masters. It seems that they can improve their alchemy skills. The most annoyed was the city lord of Fenjian City. He was so remorseful that he punched his forehead. With the end of the Shangmeng auction, alchemist Yao's reputation became more and more prosperous. When he thought that such an alchemist was under his nose. But he didn't know anything and let people go, and was laughed at secretly, not to mention depressed. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 247. Lu Huijing and Yang Muking heard other people talk about the gossip about Yao Danji appearing and leaving in Fenjian City. They looked at each other. Yang Muking sighed with emotion. They can really run away, this time they are gone again. Senior brother, you said they will still. Where are you going? Compared with the four of Guyao, Yang Muking was a cultivator who was born and raised in Qinhao continent, but he felt that the places he had traveled were not as good as those of the four of Guyao, so this time he followed his senior brother everywhere. Lu Huijing raised the corner of his mouth. Who knows, maybe he went to our Changxianmen, but the 10-year appointment has not come yet. Lu Huijing also casually said that Beijing's trip to Changxianmen was more dangerous, and he felt that there was no need to take this risk. Yang Muking said yearningly, if we see them again, senior brother, do you think we can ask for a pill to renew the limbs? Because Guyao appeared twice, it seems to be related to the continuation of the limbs, so many monks speculated that Guyao still has the limbs on him, and if you find him, you can get this medicine. Some cultivators are very tempted and sharpen their hands. Yang Wei didn't dare to be as beautiful as they thought. If he wanted to find people, he just wanted to get one grain when he saw Guyao again, and no one could guarantee that he would not be injured or lose his arms during the practice. Legs. The two of them have traveled a lot with a team of monks, but since that time in Fenjian City, it seems that they have never heard from Guyao and the others. Deep in my heart, I am also a little fortunate. This shows that these people are hiding deeper. Although they are also disciples of Changxianmen, they do not want these people to fall into the hands of Changxianmen. Zhang Qianfeng walked in from the outside, and seeing his expression, City Master Lu smiled and said, is this someone asking you about alchemy Yao's whereabouts again? Zhang Qianfeng shook his head helplessly. However, I said, they didn't believe it. Alchemy Yao and the others didn't contact me. Where do they want me to know the whereabouts of alchemist Yao? No matter how much they asked, there was no result. City Lord Lu asked curiously, where do you think they will go this time? Zhang Qianfeng smiled and said, this should be a question that many people want to know. If you want me to tell you, you might go to the Changxianmen site. The more dangerous the place, the safer the place. Due to pressure, the arrest warrant was withdrawn, but the action to arrest people in secret is more urgent. City Lord Lu asked, can you be sure? Zhang Qianfeng shook his head, I guess, but the possibility is quite high. If you change someone else, maybe you just find a place to hide completely, close the gate for 10 or 20 years, and you can come out after the storm calms down, but they can't do it. I heard someone in Changxianmen revealed that Qi Changjai has a 10-year appointment with Yan Yuanjing of Changxianmen, and Qi Changjai will definitely not miss the appointment. Well, I'll cause some trouble for Changxianmen, so that they can spare so many people to find Yao Danji everywhere. It's impossible to compete with Changxianmen, but it's okay to cause them some trouble and turmoil. People really touched the realm of Changxianmen. The more chaotic it is, the easier it is to hide his identity. He can only do these things within his power. Half a year later, Yunnan Town. Although Yunnan Town is located in a remote location, there is a ore vein outside the town, which produces a kind of ore that assists in refining spiritual tools, so Changxianmen sent special disciples to guard the mine. Unexpectedly, some time ago, a strange beast appeared in the mine that came out of nowhere. Not only did it swallow the ore, but many monks who were mining also became the food for the strange beast. asked for reinforcements from the sect, and recruited some monks to participate in the battle. It took a lot of effort to finally kill this strange beast. Kong Qingping was the disciple of Chang Xianmen who was in charge of guarding the mine. Although the alien beast was killed, he didn't show much joy on his face, because he suffered a great loss this time. Dan is not easy, his aptitude is mediocre and he has no background. He was sent here when he was not able to get a job that was full of oil and water. The aura conditions here are much worse than those in the section. If you just rely on absorbing these auras to cultivate, there may not be much progress in 10 or 20 years, so he secretly deducts a part of the ore and sells it to other markets privately, or specializing in it. Shops in this kind of business use the obtained spirit stones to cultivate or buy medicinal pills needed for cultivation. However, this alien beast swallowed a lot of ores, and the sect mission this year could not be handed in. In addition to the magical tools and other items lost in the fight with the alien beast, Kong Qingping is not to mention a lot of pain. Now he is using the section the monk who was recruited in the name of the door, he didn't want to pay for it out of his own pocket at all. One of Kong Qingping's cultivators, who was in charge of the chores, made a suggestion, "Uncle, it's better to tell them that they can be recommended to join the sect as chores. Anyway, the sect needs a lot of chorus disciples recently." Completely fine. Kong Qingping looked in his 40s or 50s, with a goatee beard, and looked serious, but the monks under him knew that he was very stingy. Kong Qingping stroked the goatee and said, "You're right, I'm also contributing to the sect, so I'll send them to the sect to work as handymen. There are a lot of monks out there who want to enter our Changxian sect, and it's cheap. They're gone. You go and get them together and announce the decision, or agree to let them find their way. That is to say, even the labor fee for killing alien beasts is not paid, and the people are directly driven out." The cultivator under his command was also obedient. Although it was his suggestion, he looked like what Kong Qingping said was what he said. The cultivator called Zhao Qing went out, gathered the cultivators who were waiting outside to adjust his breath, and told Kong Qingping's decision again. "Uncle," she said, "this is your great opportunity. Uncle, she is watching you kill this time. The animal protection mine has done a good job, so I specially gave up my face to recommend you to go in, so don't let down your uncle's heart." There were more than a dozen monks outside, and 2 of them twitched the corners of their mouths. They didn't expect it would be so easy to get into the Changxian gate, and they had never seen such a stingy Jindan monk. These 2 are Gu Yao and Qi Changjai. If people who have seen them meet again, they will never recognize them. In addition to their appearance, even their bodies have changed, and even their cultivation attributes seem to have changed, because Qi has changed. During the long night battle, he was a fire attribute cultivator from beginning to end. The change of body is a small skill mentioned in the body training exercises obtained on the Tianlin continent. It can be used as long as the second stage is practiced. It happens that the 4 of them have entered this stage, and it is found that it is better than using the disguise mask. Still good. The body training method is also strange, including Qi Changjai, who has realized the benefits after practicing it, but its name is very simple. It is called Wuming body exercise. The greater the difficulty. As for the change of attributes, it is attributed to Tian Firong and Little Fatty. The 2 used the technique of transformation of the formation and the technique of refining tools to make Qi Changjai's spiritual power transformed into a fire attribute power after being transformed by a spiritual tool. As soon as the words of Zhao Qing, a fire attribute cultivator, not a sword cultivator, came out, more than a dozen cultivators immediately began to discuss. They were all loose cultivators, and they all had foundation building strength. Tianyuan Dan is so good, but entering Changxianmen is different. Changxianmen has many resources, and has mastered several secret realms. There are many ways to obtain resources, and it is more secure than working hard outside. Zhao Yi looked down at these monks' expressions with his hands behind his back, with disdain flashing in his eyes. The handyman disciples of Chang Xianmen don't know what to do, want to stand out from the handyman disciples? It is impossible in the next life. Zhao Qing himself is a disciple of the outer sect, so seeing these people excited for the position of a handyman disciple, he is quite contented. Lu Hua Lufeng, what do you two brothers think? Do you want to join Chang Xian sect as a handyman together? I heard that handyman disciples are subject to more constraints, and there are not many places to go in the sect *. Lu Hua is Guyao, and Lu Feng is Qi Changjai. The two turned into brothers. It was also a coincidence that Kong Qingping would pull over to kill alien beasts together. At that time, they were inquiring about the problem in Yunnan town, and they seemed to be forced to join the killing beast action. That being said, it's enough for us to use something that leaks out of the fingers of the big section. Although we are subject to many constraints, the things we can get should be more than what we earn as a loose cultivator. Guyao deliberately put on a face of yearning. In fact, he and Qi Changjai used their spiritual sense to pay attention to Kong Qingping's every move. He knew why Kong Qingping made this proposal, because he didn't want to pay them out of his own pocket, and they didn't want to pay them. It is estimated that the handymen who entered the sect also acted as cannon fodder. In fact, they did not even have an official identity. Since you say so, then I'll go with you too. You have to give it a try. If you don't fight, you may not have the chance to form an elixir. The older you are, the less chance you have of forming elixir. The sect disciples are suffering, just like children without parents and mothers. They have to work hard for everything. The result was as Zhao Qing had expected. All the more than a dozen cultivators agreed to go to Chang Xianmen as handymen. Kong Qingping was very satisfied after hearing Zhao Qing's report, and took a special time to send them to the sect, and recruited miners. Continue mining to make up for his losses as soon as possible. When it was almost time for Chang Xianmen, Kong Qingping came out of his training room. He usually paid attention to his identity and kept his distance from these disciples who were going to be chores. He would never show his face unless it was necessary. N's appearance, the monks who were excitedly watching the magnificent gate of Chang Xianmen just now, suddenly became cautious. Playing a jade card, the guardian formation of the mountain gate revealed a passage. The flying instruments plunged into it, and several monks let out a gasping sound, because the aura in Chang Xianmen was basically one day and one place compared to Yunnan town. At the same time, I also feel that this decision is correct, even if there are no other conditions. As long as you can practice in such a spiritual environment, you will not worry about the slow progress of your cultivation. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 248. The Changxian Gate is very large. Looking around, many places are surrounded by clouds and mists, and it is impossible to see the scenery clearly. Only the looming peaks and the aura that cannot be concealed can be seen. Not long after entering the mountain gate, Kong Qingping put them down and told them to wait here. Then he went to a building. After more than a quarter of an hour, a dozen people waited for a foundation building cultivator to come out. Glancing at them for a while, he said, "Come with me, don't run around when you enter Chang Xianmen, lest you accidentally lose your life." He led the way in front of him, and whispered in his mouth, "It's true that all cats and dogs are brought to the sect, and the handymen of the big sect can't be done by anyone who wants to do it." The cultivators who were excited before were all very nervous at the moment, and they restrained themselves honestly and did not let themselves look around. They could only pretend that they did not hear the words of the disciples who led the way. Everyone was a foundation building cultivator with sharp ears and clear eyes, so the words that came out were obviously intentional. Listen to these people behind. This person took them to a remote yard and let them choose their own room to live in. Someone will arrange for them in a few days. It is best not to leave the yard during this time, because although they have entered the Chang Xianmen, they can be handymen. I haven't received the identity card yet, so I can't be considered a person from Chang Xianmen, and it will not be a problem if someone sees him and kills him casually. After the disciple finished speaking, he raised his chin and looked at the dozen or so cultivators in front of him. He didn't even mention to leave. The nimble cultivator immediately understood the meaning, took a storage bag and stuffed some spiritual stones into the man's hand. With words of thanks in his mouth, he hoped to have a more relaxed job, and he also reported his name, and then a few people also stuffed the cultivator with spirit stones and reported their names. Guyao and Chi Changjai didn't move. Li Chengui, who often talked to them, originally wanted to raise his feet and join the ranks, but seeing that Guyao and Chi didn't move, he stood still after thinking about it. The cultivator had a good look on the person who gave the spirit stone, but when he saw the person who said nothing, he snorted coldly, and then walked away. The team of more than a dozen people quickly divided into two groups. Even a small group is prone to disagreements and conflicts. Look, this is a living example. Don't look at the few monks who sent the spirit stones into a group now, but when the easy errand only requires one or two people, they will immediately tear up their faces and use their own methods, and the small group will quickly fall apart. Guyao and Chi Changjai randomly picked a room, and the two lived in together. Others would not be surprised. They all knew they were brothers. Li Chengui lived next door to them. Now that I've spoken, I'm really uneasy. When I first came in asterisk. Guyao and Chi Changjai were using divine sense to transmit sound just now. After entering here, Guyao remembered a person who had long been left behind by him. That is, he took the Changxianmen token and brought the family's ardent hope to enter Changxian. Guyan of the door, I don't know if he is still alive in Changxianmen now. If he is still alive, I don't know how he feels when he sees the wanted order of him and Chi Changjai before. However, there are thousands of disciples of Changxianmen. It is really not easy to find out Guyan. Guyao also thinks about it. Usually, he will check a little when he has nothing to do, and he will not go after him deliberately. Guyan's name is not included in the list of genius disciples of Changxianmen. After Li Chengui came in, he sighed, "What kind of handyman do you think we will be sent? Do you want to go out and inquire about the situation of the handyman disciples? It should be fine to be careful. Those disciples with high cultivation bases should not come here. Here is the outermost edge of the Changxian gate. Brother Li regrets it?" Guyao asked deliberately. Li Chengui said, "I just feel a little uneasy." Guyao said it's better to wait first. Maybe someone can't hold back like Brother Li, and wants to go out to find out the situation. Li Chengui thought about it too. There must be people who think like him, so he talked about other things for a while, and then left after a while. Guyao and Chi Changjai just meditated and practiced as usual, and most of what they wanted to communicate was done through voice transmission through their spiritual senses. They looked very well behaved, but at night, Guyao let the cat out for a walk, but told him to remember to be invisible, to come back quickly when something is wrong, no need to take risks. Although the cat cub stepped on Guyao's shoulder impatiently, but after all these years, Guyao still knew that he could listen. The kitty disappeared in a blink of an eye, and only came back in the middle of the night. He passed all the sights he saw in the places he walked through his divine sense. It was like Guyao had a second pair of eyes. This is the convenience of signing the contract. If you want, you can share memories. Guyao looked at these pictures while licking the cat, and many of them were hot eyes, such as goblins fighting, killing people and setting fires, and seeing the monk in the day counting his spiritual stone property, the cat's psychological activity. Guyao, I can feel it, and I don't even bother to grab it, because I can't see it, and Guyao is very funny. There is a scene where Guyao's expression is serious. There are two monks in the picture, one of which is the steward of the outer door that Kong Qingping went to find during the day. It was handled, and this management was just the foundation building, not even a golden core. However, a golden core like Kong Qingping was even worse than this foundation building cultivator. This foundation establishment Dachan cultivator had gray hair and beard, and there were a lot of folds on his face. The person who was talking to him was a golden core. The golden core cultivator asked, "Are you sure the people who sent it during the day are all right?" "Don't worry, uncle, it's just a loose cultivator who can't make it out." When he heard that he could enter our sect as a handyman, everyone was eager to come in, and it also passed Kong Kingping's goal. He dared not betray the section thing. Brother Jin Dan said, "Then observe for a few more days to see what they do." The white-haired steward said, "Okay, according to Uncle Shi, I will let people look at them. In fact, when the time comes, as long as you send them over there, with their cultivation base, no matter how talented they are, they will not be able to leave." Jin Dan cultivator said, "It's better to be cautious. Recently, many cultivators have been eyeing us. If something happens, you and me will definitely not end well." The white-haired butler immediately said respectfully, "Yes, I will act cautiously." Jindan cultivator immediately turned and left, and the catboy followed, but halfway through the follow, Jindan cultivator looked behind him suspiciously. It is not good to expose the master, and it also feels that there are many monks in the sect that it cannot deal with. Guyao gave Chi Changjai a voice transmission of what he saw in the picture, and Chi Changjai frowned slightly. It seems that Chang Xianmen has ulterior motives for recruiting handyman disciples, and I don't know what to do with us for shameful things. Can't be careless. Guyao nodded, not relying on his current strength to be self-righteous. Even the patriarch of the Silver Wolf clan fell into a rut, and the clan treasure has not been found yet. Sure enough, some people went out to inquire about the news, but all they came into contact with were the disciples in the chi refining stage among the handymen, and those handymen also hugged the group and looked down on them, so two of them gave up some spiritual stones to inquire about the news. However, this spirit stone also caused their heartache to be extremely painful. If there were too many spirit stones in their body, where would they be able to see the identity of the middle-aged fairy sect handyman? Li Chengui ran over to Guyao again and said, "I heard about it. I heard that Chang Xianmen often sends handyman disciples to do tasks outside. I don't know what they are doing. Many handyman disciples did not come back alive." "Lu Hua, you said you wouldn't send us on any dangerous mission, did you?" Guyao shook his head and said, "If you ask me, I don't know. I can't leave now. I can only take a step by step. In fact, no matter which sect, the handyman disciples are the hardest to succeed and the most eliminated. A few dead handyman disciples wouldn't even ask a question, because they haven't been officially registered in the sect, and they are not considered disciples recognized by the sect." Li Chengui knew that Guyao was telling the truth. He had already come in. He could only take a step by step. After a few days, there were actually 2 less people in this group of people who came in. They never came back. Where did they go? Li Changzhen quietly told Guyao that the 2 of them were afraid that something happened to them. After staying for more than 10 days, someone finally came to their yard. It was the foundation building stage disciples who brought them that day. They gave them the tokens of the handyman disciples, and then they sent them to work, and came to Changxian together. The same as when he was at the gate, he sat on the flying instrument again, left Changxianmen, and flew to an unknown place. Some people asked where they were going and what tasks they were going to do. Disciples are not impossible. Seeing Li Chengui and Guyao together on the flying instrument, the cultivator of the foundation building disciple was bribed by Hua Lingxi, and he regretted it in his heart. Those spiritual stones were simply spent in vain. It seems that these handymen have a place to go. I don't know how long they have been flying in the sky, they have completely lost their direction, and they can't find their spiritual sense in the room. The magic weapon is made of special materials, which can isolate the spiritual sense. When someone reminds them that they have reached the place, they came out of their respective rooms one by one, and their faces were not very good looking. Obviously, they had a bad premonition. Otherwise, why are they so guarded against them? After getting off the flying instrument, they found themselves in a remote valley, and then they were taken into one of the caves. There was a teleportation formation in the cave, and the monks who led the team scolded them to hurry into the teleportation formation. Lichengui's unease became stronger and stronger, but with Jindan Cultivator guarding him, he couldn't escape even if he wanted to run, so he was next to Guyao and Qi Changjai, which seemed to be able to borrow some strength. The place where the teleportation formation was built was secret, not to mention the place where it was teleported was even more secretive. When he stepped into the teleportation formation, Guyao doubted whether he and Qi Changjai could go back the same way. It has been a while since I came to Qinhao continent. I know that places like Tianlin continent are not unique. The ancient battle of hundreds of clans shattered the heaven and the earth, and the fragments will form pieces of continents. Tianlin continent is a relatively small one, and there may be more. Small, when some sects find such a place, they sometimes keep it in captivity and become a training place for their own disciples. After a dizziness, more than a dozen of them were teleported out. The disciples who led the team did not go with them. Needless to say, there were people on the opposite side who received them. Guyao and Qi Changjai have been paying attention to the situation of other monks. It was also a little painful, and they quickly moved over as they did. Without thinking, they knew that the teleportation formation had torn apart the monks at the foundation building stage more severely. For Guyao and the others, who were both Jindan and body refining, they didn't feel anything. Have you rested? Get out of the teleportation array when you are rested. A gloomy voice sounded in their ears. Guyao looked up and almost couldn't hold back the stunned look in his eyes, because the owner of this voice was Guyan. He didn't expect to meet in such a place. If not the same, Guyao can hardly recognize a face, because the whole person has become gloomy, with a black robe covering from head to toe. Only one face is exposed, and even the neck is covered, which makes people feel very strange. Qi Changjai also glanced at it and lowered his eyes. He didn't communicate with Guyao, and the sound transmission of divine sense was not very safe. First, we had to find out the situation here before it was too late. The two walked out of the teleportation formation with the others, seemingly as uneasy as the others. Guyazuo glanced at Guyan again unintentionally. Guyan has also built a foundation. In addition to being weird, his breath is also a bit weird. Suddenly a warning in his heart, he remembered what the Silver Wolf Patriarch said. Could it be one of them here? Stronghold. Is the situation on Guyan the same as that of the Silver Patriarch? They didn't need to find out their consciousness to find that there were several powerful auras in the cave they were in, so they all followed the black-robed cultivator out. There is a mountain forest outside, the trees are extremely tall, and the surrounding is gloomy. There is a beast roar from the depths of the mountain forest, which is full of violent blood film atmosphere, making people doubt whether they can get out of this mountain forest. The black-robed cultivator Guyan pointed to a row of stone houses and said, "You live here, it is strictly forbidden to walk around at will, and those who violate the rules will be killed." The words that were spoken were filled with a bloodthirsty murderous aura, and there was no doubt that this person alone could solve them all. The black-robed cultivator left after finishing speaking. Everyone looked up at each other. Many people showed remorse in their eyes. I'm afraid this place is not a good place. It's easy to get in and get out. Guyao and Qi Changjai entered the stone house and sat cross-legged. Qi Changjai grabbed Guyao's hand and wrote in his palm, "Guyan?" Guyao nodded invisibly. It was indeed Guyan, although it seemed that Guyan had already established the foundation, but it could be seen. The days here will not be what Guyan had hoped for when he had not yet come. The breath on his body looks very strong, but it is mixed and weird. Qi Changjai continued to write in Guyao's palm. The palm was itchy. Guyao finally managed to hold back his hand, and gave Qi Changjai a helpless look, suspicious he did it on purpose, and appeared to be discussing matters in a serious manner. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 249. The light here was dim, and it soon fell into complete darkness. Coupled with the roar of the beasts deep in the surrounding mountains and forests, it made people even more horrified. After throwing more than a dozen of them in the stone house here, no one came over, but it still felt that there were many eyes staring at them, so no one dared to run out. Guyao and Chi continued to use spiritual stones to meditate and practice. The spiritual energy here is very bad. Guyao sent the cat cub into the space to prevent anyone from discovering its existence, and he did not let it out this night to inquire about the situation. It always felt like something unusual was going to happen on this first night. Suddenly a gust of wind blew into the stone house, and even the formation could not block it. When the monk who had been alert all the time felt that something was wrong, the spiritual power in his body could no longer be mobilized, and after a few struggles, he fell down. Soon, Guyan, whom Guyao saw in the daytime, appeared outside the stone house again, and there were many people in black robes behind him. Wu Ya was like a ghost in this dark night where he couldn't see his fingers. Guyan waved his hand, "Take them all away, and give you all the storage bags on your body." "Thank you, Steward Gu." After the black-robed monk bowed respectfully, he entered each stone house, dragged the people out one by one, and rudely tore off the storage bags on their bodies, and also searched to see if there were other hidden storage. Magic weapon. Go Guyan saw that the number of people was correct, waved his hand and released a flying instrument. The black-robed monk sent them all up, and then boarded the instrument and flew away from the place. After dawn, they reached the other side of this endless mountain forest. There were countless beasts and birds in the mountain forest, but they did not attack the flying instrument, and the journey was smooth. This place is much more open, but it is filled with a strong smell of blood. It seems that even the surrounding forest is stained with blood. There are also rows of stone houses, some of which are screaming and beast-like. Guyan turned a deaf ear to the roar, and said respectfully to the skinny cultivator who came out of one of the stone houses, "Uncle, everyone has brought everyone. There are 13 people in total, all of them are Foundation Establishment cultivators. The batch sent should last a little longer." "Very good, yes, first send them to Group A, GG, the more fearful they are, the better. If they want to survive, they must kill other test items. We need better quality test items, otherwise the survival rate will be too low." Yes, the thing cultivator's voice was very sharp. "Yes, Uncle, I will send them to Group A." Guyan waved his hand, and the black-robed men carried one or two people in their hands and walked with him in a certain direction. After reaching a certain place, Guyan took out a token and entered a spiritual power, and then the place was convenient. As if it was torn apart, a huge sinkhole appeared. Those people in black robes stuffed a pill into the captured mouth, and then threw them down. After doing all this, Guyan restored the Tiankang, returned the token to his hand, waved his hand, and the man in black robe left with him. During the fall, two of them suddenly opened their eyes, spit out the medicinal pill wrapped in spiritual power in their mouths, and quickly took a detoxification pill. They were Guyao and Chi. The two originally contained antidote to prevent the situation at night, so the poisonous smoke that inhibited the movement of spiritual power did not have much effect on the two, but in order not to scare the snake, the two were at the mercy of the black-robed man like the others. The carry-on storage bag only stores some daily necessities, which fully conform to their status as a loose cultivator. All the items beyond their status are sent to Guyao's space, so Chi even needs to come from Guyao. Pick. Before the two of them landed, their figures in mid-air swayed, and they disappeared. There was a thumping sound from behind, and they both woke up at this time. Exclamations and doubts sounded quickly. However, soon the sound of punching and kicking sounded again, and the angry questioning became weaker and weaker until everyone lost their resistance and was dragged down. Lee Changui struggled to get up from the ground. Not long ago, he was still imagining the situation of becoming a handyman disciple of Chang Xianmen, but now he has ended up in such a situation, not to mention that his spiritual power cannot function, and he was beaten to the point of pain, which made him even more afraid. The thing is, he doesn't even know where he is now, and what kind of purpose the people who sent them here have. He and the others are now locked in an iron cage, and none of them are in good condition. Originally, such an injury could be solved with a single rejuvenation pill. However, all the items on their bodies were gone, leaving next clothes. Cough, where are we competing? What does Chang Xianmen want to do? Mother, I knew I wouldn't covet the handyman disciple of Chang Xianmen, and now I'm competing in such a ghost place. It seems that two people are missing, Li Changui. It seems that the two Lu brothers who were with you often are gone, aren't they with us? Li Changzhen quickly looked left and right, but he didn't see the Lu brothers. He coughed and said in a hoarse voice, I don't know, I'm dizzy and confused, and I can't pay attention to other situations at all. Will there be no problem? Li Changui leaned against the wall and said, you said they were with the Chang Xianmen? Impossible, they don't have to lie to us like this. I hope someone doesn't fall into our situation, then we still have a glimmer of hope. The others didn't say anything anymore, and they couldn't use their spiritual power now. Can they really escape from such a place? After going out, they didn't even know where to run. Now it seems that there is no way to leave except someone outside to rescue them. It took a while for someone to say, no one will hear what we're talking about. Li Changui got up with difficulty, looked out of the iron cage, turned around and said, it shouldn't be very likely, we don't need to stare at this situation now, and there are many such iron cages outside. I suspect that the people inside are the same as us. The monks who have been arrested don't know what they are going to do with us. Li Changui looked up, they woke up after falling, but now they can't see the sky, so they should be in the underground space now. Even if the spiritual power can be used, they may not be able to escape from above. At this time, he even more hoped that the Lu brothers did not fall here, but fled when they found something wrong, hoping that they could stab the situation here and bring the monks outside to save them. Otherwise he had an intuition that he would live forever. They couldn't get out. The ones who died here arrived here, and the feeling of being stared at by Guyao and Qi Changjai dissipated, and they also had a 7th grade invisibility talisman on them. Guyao dared to let the cat out and let it go. Pay attention to the surrounding situation, and then ask Su Chen in the space. Before being teleported, Guyao communicated with Su Chen, and this time it is likely that Su Chen will need to help. Senior, did you find anything? Qi Changjai was vigilant about the surroundings. The consciousness here was suppressed, and the range that could be detected was much reduced, but it was enough to see that the iron cage and the people locked in it were not like the monks, who were not like ghosts, or the former monks. See his pupils shrink. What's going on here? Su Chen hesitated. Could it be like the human experiment you mentioned? Before they were thrown down, Guyao and Qi Changjai didn't dare to use their spiritual sense to look around, but they heard the sound coming from the stone house, and Su Chen naturally heard it, and then contacted the thin old man and the scene here. Su Chen's heart couldn't help but tremble. What is the right way and what is the crooked and evil way? In fact, sometimes it is not so clear at all. When people of the right way are in pursuit of strength, they will do whatever they can, even more evil than the devil's way. Guyao sighed. I also think it is very likely that, compared to what I heard from the patriarch of the Silver Wolf clan before, and then contacting the situation here, the cultivator who the patriarch Yin said is not weak but seems strange, maybe it is from something like this. Out of place. You two be careful, don't let yourselves be planted here, it's not worth it, Su Chen reminded. Call me if you need it, and I will keep watching. Well, Thank you, senior. Thank you, senior. Su Chi also replied, and then sent a voice transmission to Guyao, we'd better find a way to change our identities. Well, that's good, otherwise, it's not a problem to hide in the dark all the time. It's better to have a bright identity and know more about the situation. At this time, the cat cub also came back and showed them the way. The two of them went underground. Touch somewhere in the space. The underground space is divided into two parts. Both places are extremely empty. There is a long corridor in the middle. The two of them do not land on the ground, and there is no sound at all. When they approached the end of the corridor, they heard the other side. All kinds of voices, compared to the previous side, are completely different worlds. The consciousness did not dare to let go too far, but the closest people saw the men and women rolling together in a room, and there was no word of shame at all. It's like indulging in one last pleasure. Su Chen's voice sounded in their minds, the highest level of cultivation here is in the early stage of Jindan. Maybe this is not the most important place, just so you can get in, you go forward, the fifth fork is on the right. The room is exactly where there are two separate monks. Guyao let go of the hot eyes, and Chi Changjai went to the room according to what Su Chen said, and when he saw the scene inside, Guyao couldn't help but feel ashamed, wondering if Su Chen did it on purpose, because he saw it before. All the men and women who came here were rolling together. It was good here. Two men were rolling in a ball, and they were very addicted to it. One of them was a foundation building cultivator. Tender flesh. But these are not the most important things now. Guyao took a deep breath, decisively, and Chi Changjai rushed in, and the consciousness spewed out, and the two monks fainted before they could react. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 250. Chi Changjai separated the two very violently. The sound of something being pulled out of the other person's body made Guyao's scalp tingle. Su Chen laughed when he saw Guyao's embarrassment in the space. Guyao really wanted to say something, laugh a fart. The hot-eyed Chiguo's body was also covered by Chi Changjai's clothes. He looked at Guyao. Guyao pointed at the taller and stronger guy and said, I'll pretend to be this guy. Chi Changjai looked at Guyao with helpless and tolerant eyes, and said, although Wu Ming's body refinement technique is good, there is no way to change the body at this stage. Asked. It's okay to get fat and thin, but it's more troublesome when it comes to bone height. Guyao looked depressed, and felt that Chi Changjai was deliberately playing tricks on him, so he had to accept the status quo. A smile flashed in Chi Changjai's eyes, and he carefully observed the guy's face, meditated on his mind, and the muscles under the skin of his face moved. To be honest, this picture is not so wonderful, it's like there are bugs digging under the skin. Guyao was startled by the picture he imagined, and quickly shook his head and walked away. After adjusting it a few times, I finally simulated 80% or 90% similarity, and changed the body shape a little bit. Guyao could only adjust himself to look like another person as soon as possible. The cultivator who appears to be feminine, he feels that his original image is much more heroic than this. So many years of training experience is in vain? Chi Changjai was actually a little unaccustomed to seeing Guyao appearing in this way, but fortunately, it was only a temporary borrowing of someone else's appearance, and the two had to hurry up to do things. They didn't kill them all at once. Learn more about the situation, but worry about being banned in their souls. I'll take a look. Su Chen flew out of the space, penetrated into the sea of consciousness of the two with his soul power, and recovered it after a while. You judged it well, there is indeed a ban inside, but I can force it. The prohibition is stripped out, but that will alarm the person under the prohibition. Then what should we do? Guyao asked. Without the memory of these two guys, it's hard to move here even just like them, and it's easy to get caught by the tail. Su Chen and Chi Changjai looked at the cat who was squatting on the side. Guyao also remembered the actual identity of the cat. Over the years, he almost treated him as a cat, but in fact his full name is Black Nightmare. The alien beast devours flesh and blood, eats soul, is also good at weaving dreams, and has a fierce name. Cub, can you extract the memories of these two people without disturbing the soul? Guyao hurriedly asked the cat. The cat meowed twice. This was negotiating with Guyao, and he had no choice but to make various promises, which made him satisfied. The cultivator who had passed out a few laps, and then the whole cat turned into a cloud of black mist, wrapping all the heads of the two people in it. Guyao and Chi Changjai waited on the side. Su Chen did not return to the space, and watched the scene with great interest. He also only knew the existence of the Black Nightmare beast, but if it could ignore the soul ban and absorb the memory, this ability is simply the nemesis of cultivators who try to use this method to control others. Guyao and Chi Changjai had to pay attention to the situation outside, in case someone suddenly ran out to check and found something unusual here, but those people didn't seem to think that outsiders would break in, and they didn't think the monks who were sent in were there. He was able to escape, so he was not alert at all, and only cared about his own pleasure. After a quarter of an hour, the black fog began to shrink again, and finally condensed into the appearance of a cat cub. The cat had a contented expression on his face. Su Chen had a warning in his heart and asked, "The souls of these two people were swallowed by your cub. What about soul imprisonment?" Just now Su Chen thought that the Black Nightmare beast is the nemesis of soul confinement, but now he feels that his scalp is numb. What's more, even their soul bodies can become its food, which is the only thing for existences like them. The biggest nemesis. Su Chen felt that Guyao should not let this little brat enter the space in the future, and he would not show up in front of this brat, otherwise it would be too late to regret it if he accidentally swallowed it. The cat shook his head. The world seemed to have opened a door in front of him, and he found that there is another very delicious food in the world, so he looked at Su Chen a little strangely. Su Chen was a little frightened by this kind of gaze. When he was about to say something, the cat cub opened his mouth and spat out two of things in black. Su Chen changed his mouth and said, "It's soul restrained, I'll teach you how to keep it, get down." People who are in soul imprisonment will not be aware of your identity in front of you. Su Chen stretched out his finger and pointed the heads of the two of them, and the two received some information. Su Chen then got back into the space, not wanting to stay with the Black Nightmare beast. The cat cub looked at the direction of Su Chen's disappearance with regret, and then stretched out his paws and patted the corpse on the ground twice. Yes, it has changed from a stupor to a complete death. Two black flames fell on the corpse, digesting that paragraph. Guyao and Chi Changjai of the information saw the final scene of Heiminjian engulfing the two corpses, and then the two monks completely disappeared from the world, not even a spot of grey welding remained. The cat cocked his head to look at Guyao. Guyao sighed and picked it up, licking the fur on his body. This ability is indeed terrible, but as long as it is not abused, those two guys will die. He pinched its ears again and said, "It's not finished yet, give me and Big Brother their memories." Meow, the kitten seemed to grin, and then the cat's paw slapped on Guyao's forehead softly. It was much more polite to Chi Changjai, and spit black smoke at him. Chi Changjai couldn't refuse, because it contains extracted memories. No one came to disturb them, so the two of them digested the two of memories with confidence, many of which were messy contents, and finally extracted the substantive things from them. When it was almost dawn, the two of them opened their eyes together and looked at each other. "You speak first. You speak first." The two spoke at almost the same time. Guyao rubbed his brows, and he should say it himself, "This man is Yudong, he should be a less important person, because he is similar to us, a monk who was caught from outside, only however, the guy you pretended to take a fancy to and stayed, Yudong is willing to do anything in order to survive." Yudong had no testicles at first, but he also killed a lot of people with Chiu Shenfei. Although he was forced at first, this man definitely couldn't stay. If he really let him live, he and Chi Changjai would be exposed. Guyao pressed his eyebrows. This place is like a hell. People who fall into this place are either dead or dyed black, so the best way is to destroy this place as soon as possible. Better. Chi Changjai stretched out his hand and wanted to hug Guyao, but he stretched out halfway and sighed and took it back. Seeing this, Guyao felt a sense of pleasure in the bitterness, and took the initiative to reach out to grab Chi Changjai's hand. They looked at each other with unfamiliar faces, and then wiped their faces together. Let's exchange the situation and discuss what to do next, Guyao said. Okay. Su Chen was also listening in the space. He didn't want Guyao to be planted in such a place, then he would be trapped here too. The underground space here is like a dungeon, and there is more than one place. This is only the A group, as well as the B group and the C group D group. The spiritual power in the body of the monks who are sent in cannot be used, and it is all based on the physical strength. You have to constantly fight with the people around you and find a way to keep yourself alive. Those who can't hold on have to die. After death, their bodies will be thrown into the forest outside, where they will be devoured by monsters in the forest. Can the survivors go out? Dream. Those who survived would have to undergo various tests. During the test, the monks would also die, and those who survived might not have a good outcome, because many monsters living in the forest were the failures of the test, half humans. Half beast or half human, half ghost monsters have lost their sanity. The cultivator played by Guyao didn't know as much as Chiu Shenfei, so he shuddered when he heard this. How many cultivators' lives were filled in here, no wonder the forest was filled with a strong smell of blood and cruelty. Guess. What about Guyan? What's his situation? Is he still a normal person? Chi Changjai held his chin and said, he should be considered a relatively advanced test subject. Those subordinates under his control should have been selected from the test subjects here. They are completely controlled by him and become his thugs, or a humanoid puppet with consciousness. Su Chen said at this time, actually, this is similar in nature to corpse refining, but one is refining the dead and the other is refining the living. Corpse refining is to refine the corpse as a magic weapon. After refining, it can be manipulated to fight the enemy and protect oneself. Generally speaking, the soul in corpse refining has dissipated, but here it seems to imprison the soul in the body, even in the dantian. The spiritual power of the puppet is also collected, and then through a special technique, it becomes a corpse-like existence, but the refining process is greatly shortened. The puppet not only has the cultivation of the monk itself, but may even become stronger than before. If you have a certain awareness, you can also take the initiative to cultivate, that is a kind of growth-type puppet. Listening to Chi Changjai's meaning, the people behind it have great ambitions. Not only do they want to make powerful human-shaped puppets, but they also try to make such puppets possess the characteristics of both the human race and the monster race, creating a powerful existence beyond that. These maddened guys are really brave, but they will eventually lead to self-destruction. The ancient battle of hundreds of clans has not taught them enough lessons, and now they can't wait to come out and commit sins. Other than a lunatic, what normal monk would do such a thing? Guyao agrees with Su Chen's words very much. Some human beings often think they are smart, but they always push themselves on the road of self-destruction. This is the case in the interstellar world, and the same is true in the world of self-cultivation. The evil side of human nature, in some human beings are infinitely magnified. In the interstellar world, some people want to embed the genes of the Zerg into the genes of the human beings, trying to obtain the power of the Zerg, create a powerful ship, destroy the uncontrolled monsters experimented by the Interstellar Alliance, and how many Alliance soldiers have died. I didn't expect to encounter the same situation in the world of self-cultivation. Humans have the advantages of races, and monsters have the strengths of monsters. Some people try to have both at the same time, but the result will be the same as in the Interstellar Alliance, which will only cause backlash. Unleash the demon, and I don't know how many monks will die because of it. The evil consequences created by human beings have to be borne by human beings themselves. I still have to find a way to solve this place as soon as possible. The longer it drags on, the more uncontrollable it will be, and more innocent monks will be sent in here. Monks are not treated as human beings at all, but in the eyes of some lunatics. Material, just like the thin old man with a sharp voice when he first came. Chi-Chang-Jai nodded, not only because of the reasons Guyao said, but also because of the time delay. The easier it is for him and Guyao to be exposed, and it will be difficult to leave then, maybe they will really be reduced to Lichengui. Situation. The night passed, and it was dawn, but the underground space was still very dark. There were luminous stones to illuminate many places. Chi-Chang-Jai followed the appearance of Chiu Shenfei in his memory and called out the people who were locked in the iron cage with others, like drive them into a big blood pool like driving animals, and watch them fall into it like dumplings. This blood pool can enhance the cultivator's physical strength, but the Changxianmen here will not go in and use the blood pond, because the things in the blood pond stimulate the physical strength, but also make the cultivator lose his vitality, so in exchange for the price of power is very huge. The vitality is transformed into strength, and the puppets made do not need the vitality of monks. As long as Yaoi has a clear mind and knows the truth, who would jump into it? Li Changzhen and the others who had just been sent in felt evil when they saw this blood pool, while the others were covered in bruises without saying a word, and their expressions were numb and their eyes were empty, which made them even more afraid, even if they were afraid that they would be too in the future. Be such a member. But the people who drove them were not happy to see them dragging their feet. When they got here, they didn't treat them as human beings. Lao Tzu chopped off your hands and feet and threw them away. What are you looking at? Look at Lao Tzu gouging out your eyes. Snapped. As soon as the whip was slashed, a monk screamed and covered his eyes were ripped apart, and the person fell into the blood pool. Only one night and one morning, Li Changzhen and others were filled with despair. Forced to jump into the blood pool. Guyao saw his hands trembling, he had to hurry up. The medicinal properties in the blood pool were extremely intense, and the first time they entered, they could not bear screaming, wishing to slam their head against the wall of the pool and let themselves pass out. Senior brother Chiu, what are you thinking? Today seems to be a little different. Could it be that brother you didn't satisfy you last night? One person laughed evilly at Chi-Chang-Jai. It's okay, I'm tired of staying for a long time, Chi-Chang-Jai replied lightly, but he really couldn't pretend to be Chiu Shenfei's temperament, so he should just deal with it lightly.